take you off this phone so I can hear you. Oh, I'm loud and clear. You hear me? All right, so I gotta mess around because I don't hear you. Why is that? Check it out. Yeti got that. Automatically adjust mic, so we.
What's good? What's good? There we go. I had to plug that shit directly into the computer. I don't know what the hell is wrong with that. What's good? What's good? There we go. I had to plug that shit directly into the computer. Okay, now we back in. You need to just go back in. It was my mic that was acting up.
Go back in and see it. So I'm kind of in the focus right. This focus right, yeah. Focus right. I need that because that's my interface. Everything's going through. So
Sound like you got a lot going on over there, brother.
You know what? I'm gonna go into my computer settings and go into the same. Yeah, it's also called started to
All right, we ready to rock and roll, man. We got people waiting on us, my man.
You know what? Go ahead and rock. And then I'm gonna jump in when I get myself situated.
I'm telling you, was good before. It was my mic.
I can't hear you through the speaker, bro, unless you keep that phone.
How could you hear me if my mic wasn't working?
Because you was on the phone.
You said, no, my mic wasn't working. There was no sound coming from me. Like I just got my mic working.
The only way I'm hearing you is because you're on the phone.
Now, but before when you couldn't hear me and I could hear you, is because what you call it? Like you not up on the stage. Now look, now you on the stage. Can you hear me?
What's so baffling about this is on one hand, it's a cover-up, but on the other hand, it's incompetence.
Strong words from the lawyer for a group of Jeffrey Epstein accusers, just hours after the Justice Department released millions of new documents.
Officials say more than 3 million pages and thousands of new videos are now being made public. The new files mention President Trump hundreds of times, along with former President Bill Clinton, Elon Musk, and others.
The Justice Department says the Epstein files were reviewed and redacted, but the attorney for Epstein's accusers is pushing back, arguing they should have released more records and done more to protect victims.
After all these redactions, all this time, we're almost a month and a half past the deadline for which all the documents were supposed to be produced, that they're still producing documents that are not fully redacted.
The Justice Department says they expect to release more documents soon.
Right now, federal attorneys are reviewing and redacting the file.
My daughter cares for me, and it's been so easy since she's been getting paid $2,500 a month.
I finally have the money to support us while taking care of my partner at the same time.
Entire Care provides everything I need to be the.
Donald Trump was far from the only person that was mentioned in the Epstein files. The 3 million documents dropped today. We also have Bill Gates. There's a draft email in the documents that Epstein was apparently writing to himself back in July of 2013. And in it, he addressed Bill Gates, accusing him of recently disregarding their friendship or whatever twisted relationship they had. He also mentioned Gates allegedly asking him to delete some past communications.
I bet all of them was trying to distance themselves from him once he got caught up. I see your mic or something just jumped.
Now.
And when it's past communications with Jeffrey Epstein, the reason why you'd want them to be deleted is easy to speculate about. Here is from the draft email, this section. To add insult to the injury, you, them, implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD, your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your penis.
Wow.
And so sometimes these emails are hard to understand or to follow from Jeffrey Epstein because he wrote like an absolute illiterate madman. I don't know entirely why one of the richest men in the world would need antibiotics to be provided by Jeffrey Epstein.
I do.
Okay, well, they're referencing something there. There was also a draft email that Epstein appeared to be writing on behalf of Gates' longtime science advisor, Boris Nikolic, about his intent to leave the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is from July of 2013. Epstein wrote in his voice, by the way, for this. During the past few weeks, I have been caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. In my role as his right hand, I have been asked on multiple occasions and in hindsight, wrongly acquiesced into participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and have been repeatedly asked to do other things that get near and potentially over the line into the illegal. From helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments, I feel I owe it to my friends and future colleagues to admit a moral failure, to ask forgiveness, and to move on with my life. A spokesperson for Gates says these claims are absurd, they're all false, they're not based on anything. But I have a feeling I know where your mind goes when you see him drafting an email which seems like blackmail material against Bill Gates.
Exactly. This is not complicated at all. These are all drafted emails not sent. These are obviously threats. If you don't do what we want, I could send this email to you and then you can't unsend it and it'll be on the record and you'll get caught on STDs, Russian girls, whatever he's threatening. Is it true? We don't know. But usually they threaten things that they think that the other person will be afraid of. Right? Yeah. So now that doesn't mean you should assume that Bill Gates did these things. That's not the important part of this story. And you could judge Bill Gates on your own time. I don't care, right? So what I care about is, so it was a blackmail operation. Because look, the one he writes for Bill Gates is super damning and like, I could send it. The one he writes for his right-hand man, obviously they've got something on the right-hand man. And what they're saying is, if we want you to, you're gonna throw Bill Gates under the bus with this email. And if you don't, there will be consequences. So who is we? That's the question. And so, and based on Dropsite News's articles and emails that they've got from Epstein and Ehud Barak and others, the we is super duper clear. It's Israel. All Epstein talks about is Israel and helping Israel in every way. He has spies, Israeli spies at his place. He has the Israeli prime minister. He tries to get cyber weapons for Israel. He tries to get America to attack Syria and Iran for Israel. Israel. He is clearly Mossad. In fact, in one of the emails, he jokes about, now I'm not Mossad. Make sure you tell him I'm not Mossad. And then a wink emoji.
Yeah, it sounded like old boy was blackmailing all these cats that he could get some dirt on. The ones he could get the dirt on, he get the dirt on. The ones he can't, he probably was making these emails up to have them under pressure. But shit. You know what they say, when there's smoke, there's fire. What you think?
That's exactly what I think, because he had too much of a hand in everybody's personal life. You know what I mean? And he kept files. That's one of the things we heard, previously before, the president came into office and things of that nature. He kept files on everybody, and high-ranking figures, going to the British, royalty and all that stuff, right? So if he got somebody like people like that, high profile, figures like that, he could have anybody, any and everybody in there. And once that list gets released and we see everybody that's ever been there, now that goes into speculation on what business did they have there? Was it just for cake and coffee? I think not.
I tell you, we never gonna see that full list.
At this point, look, how many years it's been since people got convicted?
It's been a few years, but they redacted so much stuff out of that thing that
it's not even interesting. You like, all right, what am I reading here? This is gibberish at this point.
Yeah, you ain't gonna see that full list until when it don't even matter no more.
I really think that moving forward, this is just going to be one enigma that's not ever going to get resolved.
Yeah. They only going to use it against their enemies, blackmail the other. I mean, I'm pretty sure people getting blackmailed right now.
He said he's not.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Come on. So what's amazing is the press will be like, Donald Trump, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. And you're like, bro, this is all about Israel. Don't say it. Why? Why can't I say it? Okay, so here, it gets way worse. So here is a portion of that is in the files, and this is amazing. It's in an FBI report. First, let's start with Dershowitz, then we'll go to Trump and Kushner. So they write in the report, CHS believed Dershowitz was co-opted by the Mossad and subscribed to their mission. Now, look, I'm not saying it. It's in the FBI report. I'm just reporting what's in the Epstein files, okay? And then they go to Trump. CHS advised that this was already, this was a real collusion story. Trump has been compromised by Israel, and Kushner is the real brains behind his organization and his presidency. So, did you see that headline yet? Maybe they'll come up later. Maybe it'll come up during the weekend. But if I know establishment media, they'll burr the hell out of it and go, this is just speculation. Hey, but you printed Trump being with a 13-year-old. That was speculation. You didn't mind that. You printed about Bill Gates' potential STDs. You didn't mind that. Elon Musk begging to go to Epstein Island over and over. But when it comes to Israel, yeah, okay. Does that mean that Trump is definitely compromised by Israel? No, but those are interesting allegations. If we're talking about the other allegations, we should be talking about the allegations about why did this entire thing happen in the first place?
Yeah.
This was not an accident. This was not like, oh, golly gee, here's the wild guy. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, yeah, he's the pedo that all the powerful people randomly know about and like and constantly go to. And
I ain't gonna lie, that's the wild part, how all of them connected to him. And if you gonna say that he's a known PDF, then what did y'all have in common to be hanging out with him?
My point exactly. So this is definitely gonna be a shit show. I can tell you that. Because that's all it's been up to this point. We were supposed to been have answers since people went to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already set in stone. Like, we know Gillespie, she was behind the wall. We know Epstein, he got unalived, allegedly. But even that's still a mystery, man. Like, can't pull the wool over my eyes, but so much, man. I still think that was a fishy situation.
Yeah.
All right, you're here right now to learn what you don't know, yes? If so, I'm gonna dive.
Well, the files also show that Epstein repeatedly took the fifth during a 2016 deposition when asked more than a dozen questions about former President Clinton. Among them, several about whether Mr. Clinton visited Epstein's private island and flew in his private plane. The former president has denied ever having visited the island. So has Elon Musk, yet the files contain at least 2 emails discussing just that. In one from the 24th of November 2012, Epstein writes, "How many people will you be for the heli to island?" Musk responded the next day that it would probably just be him and his then wife, adding, quote, "What day/night will be the wildest party on our island?" A year later, Musk wrote Epstein saying, quote, "We'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays." BVI's British Virgin Islands. "Is there a good time to visit?" to which Epstein replied, "Always space for you." It's unclear if that or the other visit took place. Representatives for Musk did not immediately respond to a request for comment about the new emails. And Musk in 2019 told Vanity Fair, quote, "He tried repeatedly to get me to visit his island. I declined." And Musk, you'll recall, famously posted this during his beef with the president this year, quote, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files." And minutes later, he followed up with, quote, "Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out." And keeping him honest, that's kind of hard to do. He seems to have taken the post down along with the first one. Also in the files, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who famously said he'd broken ties with Epstein in 2005, vowing to, quote, "never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again." The files, though, reveal Lutnick or his wife, Allison, were in touch with Epstein as recently as 2012. In an email from Allison Lutnick in November of that year, she writes, quote, "We are looking forward to visiting you," adding, "We are traveling on a yacht called Excellence, and I am CCing the captain." A spokesperson for the Commerce Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So a lot to talk about tonight. Starting us off, CNN Chief Legal Affairs correspondent Paula Reed. She's been going through the documents all day. So what stands out to you from the documents you've reviewed so far?
So the document that really stands out at this point is this list of accusations against President Trump, because the FBI compiled this list last summer, and this is a lot of the kind of information that investigators...
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm shocked that they released some of the stuff that's damaging to him. I feel for them to release it, they must feel like it ain't shit that could stop him, you know?
I actually feel like if they didn't release something, it would lead to more suspicion.
I don't think they give a damn about suspicion.
But listen, just watching how much is blacked out in those documents is already, you know what I mean, got you Spider-Man hairs up, like something ain't right with this. You know what I mean?
He said it. They said it correct, man. Rich demons, man. Rich demons. These fools, like, I don't know, they get just so much money and they corrupt, man. Like, my uncle, he, the one I tell you got the plumbing company and shit, he was saying that he never really held on to money like that. He always, like, spread it out to the family and shit because everybody he knew that had money always did like evil things and he refused to get part of that. Yeah, I believe they keep that's Stanley, I was gonna say that same thing. I feel like the parts that they're releasing now on Trump, like you said, some with the suspicions, even though I don't think they give a damn about the suspicions, I think that they give us enough to be like, okay, there's no way they can say that he wasn't friends with him and that they wasn't interacting. So let's give y'all breadcrumbs that it looked kind of bad, but not as bad as. But because now that he fell out with Bill, they he throwing Bill under the bus. But I want to take it as far as when he kept saying that he ain't want to lock up Hillary his first term. It's because she knew what they was doing. We all know Bill was a freak. You know, he got caught up in the Oval Office, so we all know he was a freak. You know?
But at the same time, back in those days, we felt connected to him just because
I agree.
We were like, all right, well, he's human too and he makes mistakes, which is an interesting one at that. I've never heard of anybody before him getting caught for something like that ever.
I mean, Bill Clinton, they saying he had a whole nother child. Like he had a son when he was still the governor that everybody knew about, and everybody knew that that was his side chick, and that he had a whole family with her and shit, and that they had like security and everything on her. But like Epstein, like we said, how did he even come into power? Somebody was backing him up, and I just feel like he was the mouthpiece for all that shit. And when he wasn't useful no more, they got rid of him.
That's a fact. But this is beyond a spiritual war. This is a multi-million-dollar to $1 billion, you know what I mean, war. You know,
Yeah, man, but
these people fall out with each other left and right. You know what I mean? And then when they do that, then that's when dirt comes out. So that's just how they play in this kind of field. Because you see, like, wasn't Elon and the president, wasn't they good?
yeah, but they like,
Once
you know, the business world is cutthroat, and to tell the truth, the boy, the president used Elon to get into office, you know, and then he made the Doge shit to have him go unearth everything. But you got to remember, what was the first thing this dude do as soon as that big beautiful bill came out? All of those incentives and that money that was going to all of those like green bills that for the electric cars and all that shit. Remember, he got rid of that shit. And then that's when Elon was like, nah, fuck this, and started coming at him. That's when he made that whole tweet about he's in the Epstein file because he cut it, you know, he cut his legs out behind him. But it's like, yo, you got your one little electric car company. It's probably 10, 20 companies that make gas power cars. They need coal. They need the whole Appalachia. That's their biggest income is coal mining. I mean, they dying to do it, but there's a whole lot of other at the end of the day that helped push his agenda that was more profitable than what Elon brings to the table. Yeah, Monica Lewinsky was of age. I'm just saying, Bill Clinton's a freak. I ain't saying that he was on that island messing with underage girls. I just think he a freak. You know, he gonna do his thing. You know, I never really heard of him with underage girls, but they throwing him under the bus because he, what you call it? You know, he fell out with Trump.
Yeah, it's a fallout game. It's almost it's kind of like, you ever seen that movie The Departed?
Mm-hmm.
The way they're playing kind of reminds me of that, except for they're not able to take people out all over the chessboard like they would.
Shit, if you think they ain't, them little lower cats that ain't in the public eye, I don't put that shit past them. They in a perfect position to do that. I do feel somebody puppet mastering the president. I don't even feel like he running it the same way he did before when he was in office.
It's almost like, right, they said after the first term they let him do whatever he wanted to do, but then when the second term came in, it was like, all right,
he just started doing too much too fast. He went from like most presidents are like anybody that come in office, they slow burn it. He went straight, we doing this, we doing that. We couldn't like then there the first day. And I mean, ain't shit really get better. They went to firing people. They laid off a lot of people. Like, yeah, Don Lemon went to jail. I mean, I don't know if that was legal or illegal or what he did, but I do feel he was wrong for going in them people's house of worship. You ain't gotta like them. You ain't gotta, you know, care for people like that. But to step into somebody's church, no matter if you agree with them, disagree with them, that's kind of disrespectful. Like, if you want to protest outside their church and all that shit, that's one thing. But to go inside their house of worship, even in the military, when they go to bomb Islamic terrorism, they don't hit the mosque, you know? Like, there was no tact there. And then how you want respect, but you being disrespectful in the process.
Yeah, that's a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Yeah, I think Epstein was a pawn, but I also feel Epstein, he was the tool used for blackmail. I believe it's somebody bigger than him. I don't know if it's necessarily Israel, because I feel like they too fast to throw that out there. That's too easy. I feel like usually they send you down the trail away from the truth.
I agree with that.
Yeah, let's see.
Like coming near the truth, so you're gonna throw the grenade in the opposite direction. So
that way it can disguise like what they, what they really doing, what the real plan is.
Exactly.
Let's see what they say.
It's going to be interesting to watch how this whole thing.
Oh, I'm trying to find a clip. What they said they found this dude trying to get top from some underage girls. That was the big headline for today. But look, I know Savvy put it out, but here you go.
Gather when they're looking at whether charges should potentially be pursued. For example, they're looking at unverified tips. Some include secondhand information that came through a tip line. It appears the FBI followed up on some tips. At least one was found to be unverified. But this is the kind of information they collect, but do not usually make public if there are no charges brought in a case. Now, of course, President Trump has always denied any wrongdoing connected to Epstein, but there are a lot of questions that are raised here. First of all, why did the FBI make this list of accusations specifically relevant to President Trump, though President Bill Clinton was also mentioned in there? The document was also taken down at least twice today. Last time I checked, Anderson, it was back up. But this list of allegations will likely prompt more questions for the Justice Department and the White House, even though this release is, of course, part of an effort to try to tamp all this down.
Trump in the Epstein files. The Justice Department releasing millions of new pages of documents from the Epstein files, and among them is a list that Trump's own Justice Department compiled, his own Justice Department. This list details a list of sexual assault allegations related to the president. Now, this list was released this morning as part of this document dump, but then suddenly disappeared from the Justice Department's website. That was noticed, called out, that got posted again. The administration claims that snafu was because the site got overloaded. Now, many of the allegations appear to have come from unverified tips. Some are incredibly graphic and disgusting and upsetting, frankly. The files also today released included a complaint from a woman who accused Trump of raping her in 1994 when she was 13 years old. According to the complaint, the woman identified as Jane Doe claims, quote, Epstein was angry that Trump was the one to take Doe's virginity and then went on to rape Doe. That's just disgusting and depraved. It goes on in graphic detail. These descriptions do mirror the allegations of Jane Doe made in her 2016 lawsuit against Trump, a lawsuit that was eventually dropped. Now, at the time Trump denied the allegations, his attorney telling Politico it is categorically untrue, it is completely frivolous, it is baseless, it is irresponsible. I won't even discuss the merits because it gives it credibility it doesn't deserve. And Trump's DOJ, again, stressing, quote, this production may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to the act, referring to the act of Congress forcing them to release these files, of which this chunk they're releasing, of course, is a month after the deadline. And while Trump is not accused of any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein at this time, he has fought vehemently and obsessively against the release of the files, lashing out at reporters who have pressed him for a long, long time on why his Justice Department has been so slow to release anything.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me about $2,700 in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I
have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats.
Jennifer, go ahead.
Quiet. When you talk about the Epstein hoax, it's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax.
Joining us now is Virginia Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw, who sits on the House Oversight Committee. So, Congressman, the ranking Democrat on the Oversight Committee, Congressman Robert Garcia, released this blistering statement after the files were released, saying, in quote, in part, we are demanding the names of Epstein's co-conspirators and the men and pedophiles who abused women and girls. Do you accept the government's explanation for the redactions they've made?
No, I don't. I mean, look, the Trump administration and the Department of Justice has slow-rolled this release at every turn. Today, they released 3 million of the 6 million documents we know they have. We know they have 6 million.
Who the fuck is reading 3 million pages?
They released 50% of the documents. And
first off, how the fuck you got 6 million copies of anything? Like, but who the hell said they're reading 3 million pages of anything?
6 million. How many people you got reading through
I bet you some shit slipped through the cracks. Like, some shit gonna slip through the cracks. Goddamn. Tell the truth, I think all these motherfuckers is freak nasty. Like he said, who telling these rich elites no? I mean, if this was adults, I'd be like skeptical of some of the shit, but messing with kids, it's an evil fucking world, man. It ain't no justification for that.
That's why this is sick, man. That's why, like,
Yeah,
because
he should have knew he was dead when he went to jail.
Because kids are involved, that's why I'm not understanding why we getting documents with
Redacted shit. Everybody should be fucking under the bus.
This should be public information, not classified.
Yeah, I agree. And we should have got this shit 6 years ago, whatever, however amount of time, 2016, whenever he went to jail, we should have got the information out. This shit shouldn't be a topic in 2026.
Exactly.
This should have been taken care.
I
You
smell.
said call 50. Shit, I think Diddy was hanging with him. Look, they put Diddy shit out there. Diddy was nothing but a cluck.
Exactly. So now we know something not right. You know what I mean? It's obvious. So why, when it came to, here's my thing, right? When you're gonna address BS, address all of it. Don't pick and choose. Keep an open platform. But people don't do that. So now that's where you have your evils. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this world runs on evils. You know, even when election time comes around, you got to pick the less of the two evils. Why are we even picking from evil?
That's because we got to get rid of the two-party system. Even though it's more than two parties, but it's two dominant parties. We need to get rid of the two-party system, and it needs to be where they can't get no financial like backing and donations and shit. That they should just purely run off of merit, because as long as you got somebody putting up their money behind you, you got to push the agenda that they want.
Right. I feel that's basically how I see lobby.
Diddy was super rich, but Diddy ain't have money like them. He ain't have money. Like, you got to think they going to combine their resources. What they don't got is still more than what Diddy had, because they could combine their resources. They was the ones who wrote the checks for Diddy.
Mm-hmm. They spending old money.
Diddy biggest problem was he was a hater, and Diddy ain't know how to like go get his own girl. Every girl he had, he stole from one of the homies that was around him. Like, granted, I mean, besides him putting hands and feet on Cassie, she was with all that other shit, man.
Sadly.
Yeah. Now, Cassie, I could kind of, looking at it from a forward perspective, I could see how she was a victim because she was so young when she got with him and shit. But 50 baby mother, she was grown as hell and with the business, man. I mean, it was nothing saying that
that's a fact.
That he put hands on her, but she was with the business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the fuck this comment mean. I ain't even put no more comments on the screen unless it's super chats. We can catch this saying, join my side and make money. I'm good on that. I'm good with money.
I wonder what happened to Celestine. We don't even hear nothing about it.
Who?
Celestine.
She's chilling in a minimum facility. They moved her and everything. She's in good in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took her out of the max. She chilling. She's somewhere where she went, but her charge, she ain't even qualified to be there. She damn near at home. The way they said the place they put her in now.
The 50% we have today are heavily redacted, so they continue to cover up the full truth that's in the file. So we're going to continue to push the Oversight Committee's investigation will continue throughout this Congress and into the next Congress, I suspect. We're not going to stop until we get the transparency that the survivors are demanding.
I mean, some of the claims in some of these files are I mean, pretty bizarre and don't sound very credible. In your view, should the general public, and what should the general public take away from these files? How are people supposed to know what's credible and what isn't?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. And, you know, there are a number of uncorroborated or perhaps unverified allegations against President Trump there. And I think what I would say is all of that deserves additional scrutiny. Some of them have been revealed publicly in the past and perhaps have limited credibility, but all of them should be explored. You know, the Oversight Committee in the coming weeks, we're going to be deposing Jeffrey Epstein's accountant, his attorneys, the attorneys for his estate. So we're going to continue to ask questions. And I think this release, although limited, not what the law requires, this release will provide information to guide our questioning as we move forward.
Among the materials that the Deputy Attorney General Blanche said were withheld from this release,
I agree.
were
I think
files
that was his plan
that
to
would
have something
jeopardize
on
an
everybody.
active federal investigation. Is it clear to you what investigative avenues remain at this point, or if there are any active federal investigations ongoing into this?
I have no insight into the active investigations that the Department of Justice might be engaged in. Obviously, we know President Trump has done what he has done repeatedly and directed the Department of Justice to investigate his political opponents or Democrats with respect to Epstein. I hope that's not the path they're doing. If there are real, legitimate investigations based on what they've learned in the files, those should proceed without any interference or involvement from President Trump.
And as we mentioned, the Deputy Attorney General Blanche said that unredacted files would be made available to lawmakers who coordinate with the Department of Justice. Is there a plan to do that? I mean, obviously, it's a lot of files. Is that even possible?
Especially in 2026, man. But that's what I'm looking at. You see this shit? They're redacting whole. Remember, I was telling you they redacting whole pages and shit. Like, why you even put that shit out?
Exactly, it's embarrassing to the whole.
Yeah, Hollywood, man. You know what they're saying, right? If you want to keep a secret, right? They said if you're doing something and you want to keep a secret and two people, the only way to keep a secret if two people know it is for one of them to be dead.
That too.
So you know they all, like he said, Hollywood knows they was gonna run their mouth. Shit, I give it another 10 years, they have a movie about this.
You know, that's not a bad idea. Somebody get 50 on the line.
Yeah. It's gonna be a movie or something about this shit in 10 years, you know? I wouldn't be surprised.
We due for another Netflix special.
I don't think 50 gonna play with these people and get on there.
You do try to stay away from politics. We will do for that, but they released over 3 million pages out of 6 million.
Yeah, I mean, come on now.
Nothing. Like it's oh my God, I can't believe it, bro. Like it's really embarrassing. Like that's disgusting. You talking about
6 million pages? That had to take years to get to. You know what I mean? To build up.
6 million. We should be getting at least, you know what I'm saying, 1 million every year since that happened.
Nah, that shit. He should have never been able to even build up to no goddamn 6 million. You know what I mean? And that's just what the motherfucker put down on emails and paper and shit. You know. 50 gonna make it, but he built it at studio. I don't think 50 got the heart to fuck with these people. That's real, buddy.
Yeah, he once you start interviewing those people, that is muddy waters. We see the backlash he got off of interviewing whoever he did on the Diddy situation, and that's
that
at
Diddy
a level of money.
That Diddy documentary, though, I mean, that shit was okay at best, bro. I seen a bunch of grown bums crying, bro. I think it could have been better if he would have got more relevant people that actually we all know that was involved with him.
Right.
Not fucking people that arguably, you know what I mean, all got some issue. Like the dude that somebody he had 25% in his drink. We could clearly see he's a crackhead, you know? We could clearly see he a crackhead. Then it was like, Dawn, she mad because Diddy ain't give her this, but we don't know why he ain't give her the 5,000. Because what is 5,000 to him, you know?
Right.
So it's like, kind of need both sides of the story, you know?
I know he wasn't getting whatever.
Now, I wanted to hear the Locks and all these other cats tell me, you know what I mean? Like, yo, these motherfuckers, he jerked me and made us wear shiny suits and shit, you know? Like, I wanted to hear that shit, you know? Hear Shine talk, like, you know, cats that's relevant. Mark Carey, we don't know shit about you, man. You was cornball. Let's hear the rest of this before we go. We gotta find juicy shit.
Possible.
I know that Congressman Khanna and Massey have written a letter asking to review those unredacted files. I think the Democrats on the Oversight Committee and hopefully Republicans as well will be talking about how we can coordinate to review those unredacted files. I certainly want to understand what's been redacted and, more importantly, why.
Yeah, look at all them redactions.
Walkinshaw, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Imagine being able to build an app with.
Yeah, look at all those redactions. That shit was in there the whole shit.
In total, that means that the department produced approximately 3.5 million pages in compliance with the act.
Literally millions of Jeffrey Epstein files have just been released. And these are new details. These are things about President Trump. These are things about Bill Gates. These are things about Bill Clinton. And these are things about Elon Musk. We are going to try to get to some of the highlights of some things that are happening right now and maybe give us details and a glimpse into Jeffrey Epstein's world. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse.
I don't want to be a part of his world, bro. Like, this motherfucker world was twisted.
Exactly.
And not like these teas.
Yo, they owe you a commercial or something. They owe you a
Yeah,
spot.
they should sponsor me, man. I mean, I'll knock these bitches down.
I'll tell you this much. After knowing what they could do with this and hide information, it really displaces your trust with the system.
I never trust that shit. How you trust that shit, man? We grew up in the Bronx, man. Cops was beating our ass. Fucking teachers wasn't shit. Like,
Right.
Shit, everything I seen in authority was always doing us dirty, man. I ain't.
Yeah, but in front of like this is that's one
I always
thing.
expect. We always heard of the casting couch, man.
To justify a lot of different things. You can make you could dress up, put lipstick on a pig and dress it up. But this right here, disgusting.
Yeah, let's see how they break it down.
Nah.
Maybe they might give us some better insight.
All right, quite the update for you. So the DOJ announcing today that they are releasing more than 3 million pages of files in the Jeffrey Epstein probe. Now, this, of course, is pursuant to a Transparency Act that was passed by Congress. And we got to get into what we're seeing here. Now, to be clear, we're not going through 3 million pages, but we do have some highlights that we got to address. We got to put into context, too. I should also note that what is not being released and what we will probably never likely see, I should note that as well, there are things, according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, that are allowed to be withheld under the law. These are files that contain, personally identifiable information of victims, victims' personal and medical files, any similar files, any depiction of child sexual abuse material, anything that would jeopardize an active federal investigation. Maybe that's a bit broad. And we may never actually know what any of this may be, but We got to take the government at its word. Anything that depicts or contains images of death, physical abuse, or injury, files covered by various privileges, so things like that. Actually, here's a section of what Todd Blanche had to say.
We complied with the act, and there is no, we did not protect President Trump. We didn't protect or not protect anybody. I mean, I think that there's a hunger or a thirst for information that I do not think will be satisfied by the review of these documents. And there's nothing I can do about that.
Okay, so now there's a lot here. A lot here to get through. Like, for example, Epstein accomplice, convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. Her arrest photos are in there. This includes pictures from her home in New Hampshire where she was picked up. How about this? An email between First Lady Melania Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell from 2002, where she seemingly writes, "Dear G, how are you? Nice story about J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, in New York Mag. You look great in the picture." Or how about the current U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, who is apparently a neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein in New York City, where he allegedly sent an email to Epstein's assistant in 2015 inviting Epstein to a Democratic fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. Remember, Clinton ran against Trump? Oh, and then there's this. Bill Gates looking to get STD medication. Bombshell allegation that President Trump assaulted a minor. We're going to put that one into context, though. A lot here, a lot I want to get into, and there's definitely more about President Trump. There's more about former President Bill Clinton, Elon Musk. I want to bring on attorney Richard Schoenstein, though, to discuss all this. Rich, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. There's a big points that we're going to get into, but just general thoughts on the release so far. After you have read 3 million pages, what are your main takeaways?
Yeah, well, I haven't read every line or watched every video or looked at every photo, and there's a lot here. But I think of it sort of the same way I think about litigation, where there are often very large document productions. And parties like to justify the way they're acting in litigation by saying, look at how many documents we produced. We produced so many documents. But often it's what's not produced. And my understanding here is there's a substantial amount of material that still hasn't been produced, and a substantial amount of material that is redacted. So we're going to look at what has been produced and analyze it as best we can, but this is not complete.
Okay, so let's start with what has been produced. And I have to start with the bombshell, okay? This bombshell concerning the President Trump. Now, there is apparently a sexual...
Yo, look at this goddamn picture.
Yo, it looked like a commercial, right?
Word, like some old... this got to be like the 70s, 80s. I mean, maybe it's the 90s. It looks
like
ridiculous.
He was trying to like cast for a James Bond movie, 007.
A fucked up version. Yeah, that shit
Been
crazy.
combing over forever, though. I can tell you that much.
Yo.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That part.
Yeah, let's see what else they talking.
Assault allegation that I'm about to read, and I want to put it into context. It seems the Department of Justice made a list of all of the sexual assault claims against the president. We don't really know why they put this list together, but it should be noted these are tips, meaning they're unverified claims. And according to CNN, this list was in an email that was sent from the FBI New York's field office to the Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force. So you could also argue this looks to be secondhand information, maybe even third-hand information in many cases. Now, the DOJ made that clear in a statement. Quote, "This production may include fake or falsely submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to the act. Some of the documents contain untrue and sensationalistic claims against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they have a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already." Put that to the side. But we are going to warn you, the allegations made in these tips are very disturbing. For example, quote, "Redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing The friend was allegedly hit in the face after laughing about biting President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein. And the log states that this tip was sent to the Washington office to conduct an interview. The next tip reads, Redacted reported she had a friend, Redacted, who was a personal assistant to Epstein in Florida from 1986 until 1991 or 1992. This friend shared names of the guests at Epstein's parties to include Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, there's a call log that indicates that 2 voicemails were left for this complainant, but there was never a response. And then you have a tipster who connects the Alexander brothers, you know, the guys that are under federal indictment. They're in federal trial right now in New York for allegedly sex trafficking women. We've been covering it here on Sidebar. They allegedly have a connection to Epstein. Quote, at age 16, while modeling, caller attended 8 parties at Epstein's New York residence. On one occasion, caller reported she was sexually assaulted by Epstein. On another occasion, 2 twin brothers, Alon and Orrin, lured caller and her friend upstairs, but they escaped back downstairs. Caller stated Orrin raped her best friend, and a third brother, Tal, raped a 14-year-old girl named Redacted. Caller named other individuals involved in, quote, big orgy parties with her, other young girls, and older.
Yo, where the fuck was they parents at? Like, how you don't know where your kids is at? Like, the kids are innocent, but where the fuck is the parents at? The parents need to be locked the fuck up too.
When we was coming up, there was a commercial. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
But it's bigger than that, because no random 14-year-old ain't finding these people. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So what circles are they in, or who are they around?
No, they fucking parents is giving these fucking kids up to these people because
be more protected.
Yeah, like, come on, man.
These females.
Kids was orphans. Somebody saying the kids was orphans. That's why. But it's like, well, fucking the orphanage, like, come on, man. Like, how you export these kids?
People dropping the ball all around.
Is this dude that smart to realize that he said, who the fuck names their daughter Redacted?
Yo.
You do know that's not the girl's real name. They just said Redacted because they blinked it out.
Yo. Yeah, that was the first laugh of the day. That was interesting.
Who do you think funds the fucking orphanage?
That's an interesting question right there.
Them motherfuckers. That's what he's hitting at. That is an evil fucking world, bro.
You know.
And that should fuck my head up. I got a 14-year-old. I know where the hell she at all times.
So do I.
This shit wild, man. This shit wild.
Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Online complainant reported she was a victim and witness to a sex trafficking ring at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes, California between 1995 and 1996. Complainant reported Ghislaine Maxwell as the madam and broker for sex parties, clients of whom included Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. Quote, the guests were older men and included Elon Musk, Don Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give to Donald Trump, forced to allow, I think this says penetration. I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. Okay, Rich, what do we make of this? I mean, because there does become a question of whether or not these are credible claims.
You have it listened, you type it in, and then you go digging.
Yeah, and that's really difficult, Jesse. You know, on one hand, some of what's asserted here is consistent with other allegations we've heard over the years against the president and certainly against Jeffrey Epstein, right? This is consistent with things we've heard. But in these files, it's not, it's sort of sometimes secondhand or third-hand hearsay. These are allegations. These are not things that were proven in court. These are not things that were taken to court. And in fairness, it's hard to give them that much credibility without knowing more. Now, if you had these allegations, you might want to do an investigation. And I'm a little bit put back by the DOJ saying, these are meritless or these are false or none of this is true. That seems to go too far the other direction. But I don't know that we have enough information here to say we've established additional criminal conduct.
It is interesting to note, if we're questioning the transparency of the DOJ, if you really believe they were going to hide information, they never would have released this. I mean, at the very least, it's embarrassing for the president. No? I mean, so does it not give you a little bit of hope that they are releasing everything that they can release?
I see the argument to that extent. I think the DOJ has a credibility problem right off the bat because the guy who's leading this was Trump's personal lawyer. So I don't know how much credibility you can have when you're spearheading an investigation and you've come directly from Donald Trump's legal team to the DOJ to do this. That's a credibility problem. And the DOJ over the past year has had tons of credibility problems. They have credibility problems right now based on what they've said about what's happening in Minneapolis. I mean, they're telling us things that obviously aren't true if you've watched videotape. So they have a big credibility problem. It's hard to take them at their word about any of this, frankly.
Let me ask you, and to be clear, law enforcement has never accused the president of any wrongdoing regarding Epstein. He's never been criminally charged or implicated. Let me ask you about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has come up in this. So Elon Musk comes up in this document in an email exchange from December 2013. Quote, "We'll be in the BVI," so the British Virgin Islands, / St. Bart's area over the holidays. Is there a good time to visit? And then a response from JEE Vacation responds, "I will send heli for you," probably meaning like a helicopter for you. Quote, "Actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd.
Why the fuck do he got to send a helicopter to Elon Musk? Elon Musk is a damn billionaire,
They playing with him like he don't got his own money.
I ain't gonna lie though, for these motherfuckers, they some dumb as hell. You know what I mean? They dumb as hell. They was leaving all these trails and shit. They all should be in fucking orange jumpsuits. They really should be in them pink jumpsuits, like how they do them out in Arizona, where they make them sleep outside in tents and shit.
That sounds justified for this type.
Throw them in ADX, man. You giving motherfuckers more time for selling drugs than these motherfuckers. They should be under the jail.
They on a different time, and that's a fact. Different time. But they got so much money. It's like a culture to be stupid. When you look at all the inconsistencies with the accusations, I'm like, damn, how the hell would you picture somebody in a million years having to send
I mean, we don't know what year it is. Or 2013, maybe he ain't have it. He ain't have his own air traffic, but he damn sure could afford. Hell nah, they had Teslas and shit back then. He could afford to pay to go out there.
I'll tell you this much.
Lock his ass up too.
That crowd, he's got bread. That's simple. You ain't gonna be no Joe Schmo, regular Schmo in these loops.
Burn the whole damn album.
Third, we will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island on the 2nd? Quote, "Did we need to organize Elon to your island on January 2nd? Now that's interesting because Musk had previously tweeted, "Epstein tried to get me to go to his island and I refused." Now it's unclear if Musk ever actually followed through with this trip, but it wasn't just the travel to the island that was discussed via email. There's one from September 2012 that reads, "What does JE think of going to Mar-a-Lago after Christmas instead of his island?" And the sender and recipient are both redacted, but it's kind of unclear whether if this was a response to this. But again, it does make me question when I read something like this, Rich, big name, flashy, but there were people who were always connected to Epstein and people who may have traveled on his jet or in his inner circle. Doesn't automatically equate to guilt. It doesn't automatically equate to them being involved in criminal activity or having knowledge of criminal activity. But I do wonder if it actually supports Elon Musk in a way.
If you've ever dreamed of owning an apartment complex and you live near one of these cities, then you've got to see the same ad that I saw.
I don't know. It is true. Jeffrey Epstein had social interactions with a whole lot of rich and powerful people, including Donald Trump, including Bill Clinton, and possibly including Elon Musk and many others. And that is something unfortunate that we've learned, that a person who had so many, did so many bad things, was able to establish these connections with the rich and powerful. But it doesn't mean that everybody he had a connection with engaged in criminal activity. I would be shocked if it meant that. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if people who did have contact with Jeffrey Epstein tried to downplay that in the wake of what we all know, even if the contact was innocent.
Let me ask you this. Based on Todd Blanche's statement that they can redact anything that's part of an ongoing investigation, does this mean that they're not, I wouldn't be surprised, it's the president's own DOJ, but that they're not investigating Elon Musk, they're not investigating President Trump, and I'll talk about Bill Clinton in a minute, I'll talk about Bill Gates in a minute. Does that mean that they're not investigating them? Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to release this information, right?
I don't necessarily connect that. First of all, there's sometimes some of this stuff gets released and then pulled back. I think even today there have been some instances of things that were released and then pulled back. I don't have any reason to believe that the Department of Justice is investigating the president or Elon Musk for anything. I would be frankly surprised if they were, but I don't take that from what's been released. I just assume that from other facts.
Now, let's talk about former President Bill Clinton, who has come up quite a lot in the Jeffrey Epstein conversation. When Epstein sat for a deposition, this came out today, when Epstein sat for a deposition in the Virginia Giuffre lawsuit, this is an Epstein accuser. Remember, she filed a lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell, a defamation lawsuit. This was unsealed, I believe, in 2024. In this deposition from 2016, he sits down and he would always invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination when he was asked about his connection or association or friendship with President Bill Clinton or the Clinton Foundation. For example, it was questions like, please describe all dinners you've ever had with Bill Clinton. And he would say the fifth, please describe all dinners you and Maxwell have ever had with Bill Clinton. Fifth, please describe all dinners you, Maxwell, and Virginia have had with Bill Clinton. Fifth. Or how about this exchange? Isn't it true that at the time period 2000 to 2001, you were close friends with Bill Clinton? Fifth. And even to 2002, you remained close friends with Bill Clinton, right? Fifth. Bill Clinton flew on your jet a number of times in 2002, right?
I don't know about that one.
2002, Bill Clinton was on your jet several times, right? Fifth. How about this one? You've heard of the Clinton Foundation, right? Fifth. Please describe all of your interactions.
I don't know if they had inappropriate or appropriate relationships, but I know Maxwell brothers said that the bill that came out a couple of months ago that they were saying that Trump mouthed off, it wasn't Clinton. It was somebody else. You heard that shit when they were saying that, when that was going around?
I feel like that's just going to be another conspiracy in itself.
Yeah, but his brother came out and said it wasn't Bill Clinton, but he ain't never say that Trump wasn't mouthing people off.
See, that's interesting.
Yo, you see the comment section? I ain't put that on the screen, but he said there's a video out there. Yo, that's wow.
Actions with the Clinton Foundation. Fifth. Is it true that you helped Bill Clinton organize the Clinton Foundation? Fifth. Did you discuss with Bill Clinton the idea of creating a foundation? Fifth. Now, Clinton has always denied the allegations. He's always denied having any knowledge of what Epstein was up to. His spokesperson said that the president cut off ties with the disgraced financier before he was charged with soliciting prostitution in 2006. But is it strange to you, Rich, that he kept invoking the fifth every 5 seconds when it came to Clinton?
So sometimes defendants or witnesses will cut off an entire line of questioning with a Fifth Amendment right. And so it may be that he was under the view that if he was asked anything about Clinton, he would take the fifth and not answer it, as was his right as being, a criminal defendant or under investigation or whatever he was at that moment. There's nothing we can do about that. I do think it's a little troubling that Bill Clinton hasn't been more forthcoming with answers about all of this stuff, other than just kind of a general denial. I find that disappointing as well.
When you couple that also with the photos that were released of Clinton recently, right, in the pool, the hot tub, whatever it was. And by the way, the Clintons recently refused a subpoena from the House Oversight Committee to have them testify. There's now a question. The House voted to hold the Clintons in contempt. You tell me, does this cast a suspicious net around him?
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome to my mountain television software demo stunt.
Let's be clear, there's a full medical team.
Milk, that.
One more time. I got it. When's it gonna melt out?
About 10 or 15 minutes.
How long's it been?
You got ice cubes?
I've never had an experience like that. Did I get the lines for you?
You got the lines perfectly. I'm so sorry. Today, we'll learn why Mountain is the hardest working software in television by demonstrating how brands, big and small, are using it to transform their marketing. Of course, that sounds like it could be pretty boring. So,
Sure. I think you're justified to say, gee, Clinton, made some trips to Trump Epstein Island, and what's that all about, and why is he refusing to answer questions about it? And I understand that people have questions about that. And I understand people saying he should have answered the congressional subpoena, and those proceedings will play out however they play out. I will say, though, that Bill Clinton is no longer president and hasn't been in several decades and is not running for office and has maybe a lesser need to justify himself in public than other people.
By the way, if you want a full breakdown of what it could mean for the president to possibly be held in contempt, Jesse Weber Live on News Nation. I did a full breakdown of that Monday through Friday.
Great show.
Go
get it.
Eastern.
Go get it.
Thank you. Okay, so back to this. I have to talk about Bill Gates. This was another bombshell. So back in 2013, the way that I'm understanding this is
that motherfucker look like he dead. He look like he dying, bro. You see that?
They all be looking wicked.
Is that recent?
Tales of the Crypt.
Yeah. Ugh. They got all that money and still look that bad? Yeah, Bill Gates got to be up there in age by now, too. But I be feeling like they be showing different pictures of him that make him look younger or something.
Well, there's another conspiracy tied to that. Adrenochrome.
Why was there Bill Clinton? I don't know about that. But yeah, this is wow.
Jeffrey Epstein allegedly claimed that the Microsoft co-founder was basically looking to get some medication to treat an STD because of having sex with Russian girls, okay? So Epstein had apparently penned this draft email on behalf of a Gates advisor because this person looks like wanted to leave the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So it says, quote, "During the past few weeks, I've been caught up in a severe marital dispute between Melinda and Bill. In my role as his right hand, I have been asked on multiple occasions and in hindsight wrongly acquiesced into participating in things that have ranged from the morally inappropriate to the ethically unsound, and had been repeatedly asked to do other things that get near and potentially over the line into the illegal, from helping Bill to get drugs in order to deal with consequences of sex with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall. I feel I owe it to my friends and future colleagues to admit a moral failure, to ask forgiveness, and to move on with my life." And then there is apparently a separate draft email to Bill Gates, where again, Epstein is portraying himself as this advisor, called Bill Gates said that he's engaged in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you've worked so hard to achieve. Implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. You request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your I am concerned that if Melinda decides, as you said, to file for a public divorce, the damage done to the pledge program alone would result in billions of dollars of money no longer being used for social good, as I'm sure that some wives and husbands would feel free to retreat from their commitments. Now, this is a complicated one, Rich. So again, it's like Epstein.
I kind of don't believe that shit because I can't see Bill Gates with all that money that he can't get a real doctor to prescribe him some money. I mean, some fucking medication under the table, you know, under the table, above the table, or whatever. Probably got. I'm pretty sure he's going to private doctors that probably come see him. Like, I don't.
Or if that, he could go out of the country and do whatever he needed to do. He can move around.
I believe fucking his wife fucking divorced him because he got all that money. He probably was being wild, disrespectful, and doing whatever he wanted. Probably, I mean, he wasn't messing with just. I mean, maybe now the way he looked half dead, he probably messed with one female. But
it sounded like he was just an scapegoat due to the situation. Jeffrey wrote that. You know what I'm saying?
Or somebody that fucking somebody else that fuck with Jeffrey probably you know, set this up to be part of the blackmail scheme, you know? That's a wild battle.
Speaking on behalf of somebody else, I have no idea if these allegations are true, but your thoughts?
Yeah, well, and that's a big problem with this entire endeavor. So these are salacious allegations. There have been, you know, those kind of allegations about Bill Gates in the past, and there often are those kind of allegations against the rich and powerful. But a problem with this Epstein file endeavor is documents don't usually prove anything standing alone.
Nah, they saying that this wasn't like even an email from Bill Gates.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
And releasing the documents, like
They were saying this ain't an email from Bill Gates. They saying this is a fucking in his draft emails he was writing to Bill Gates.
Yeah, allegedly. But that's why I say, like,
he said, I don't think he got the house in Virginia. I think that he
it was so he could
yeah, I think I really do think they got a cure to HIV. Because they could all the stuff they could do now where you can have kids, you can as long as you're taking your medicine, you won't pass and everything. You could do all that. Y'all got the cure for that shit.
I definitely agree with that. You know, when I look at people like Dr. Sebi, who was helping people that had testimonies of help of the people he helped, you know what I mean? And he was alive and well during these times. So that's why I'm saying, you know, Bill Gates could have definitely went anywhere and got treated.
Yeah, man. And if he already out in them streets like that, that motherfucker probably got them pills right in his dresser drawer. That shit's on standby, but probably pop that shit with his Viagra and fucking
access to everything
everything else, you know.
For it, I think transparency is good. I don't see why these were withheld. I think there's some value here, but it's going to be hard to prove anything unless you have government offices investigating earnestly and prosecuting when they're aware of misconduct. You're not going to get to the bottom of it and get, you know, criminal convictions and the like. Otherwise, all you're going to get are millions of documents and millions of questions.
Now, a spokesperson for Bill Gates has rejected any allegations that were laid out here and basically said these claims are absolutely absurd and completely false. The only thing these documents demonstrate is Epstein's frustration that he did not have an ongoing relationship with Gates and the lengths he would go to entrap and defame. By the way, just going back to Epstein, we talk about so many other people. Look at this allegation that Epstein assaulted a minor girl after she told him she previously had been molested. Okay, apparently she told the FBI this back in 2021. It's from a 302. It's a witness interview. We don't know if the FBI found evidence to substantiate this, but the notes say that this victim felt degraded when she went to Epstein's place that she felt taken advantage of, that she said she also felt happy because she got a bunch of money from massages. But clearly, this is just another point in Epstein's playbook. So you couple that, Rich, with the Gates thing, right? It goes to this pattern of power, taking advantage of people, trying to compromise them. I mean, there are aspects of this. We think about everybody else, but it does go back to the evil that was Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, 100%. Jeffrey Epstein was a horrible person and did many terrible things, including some of the things we're talking about, but also in a business sense. And he turned on people. He could not be trusted. You would not trust him if he was testifying. If he was testifying and he didn't take the fifth, you wouldn't trust him. And you can't really trust what he wrote in an email years and years and years ago. And it makes this endeavor, again, very difficult because you have a inherently untrustworthy source writing things that are not complete thoughts in any event. It just becomes very hard to piece it together.
Okay, let's see where this goes. I'm sure we'll maybe do another episode because there's going to be more things that come out of 3 million documents. Rich Schoenstein, 3 million pages, I should say. Rich Schoenstein, great seeing you. Thanks for taking the time, as always.
Man, that's a lot of shit. 3 million fucking pages, bro. 3 million pages? Let's see what
My daughter cares for me, and it's been so easy since she's been getting paid $2,500 a month.
I finally have the money. Ghislaine Maxwell has just dropped a bombshell. In a new court filing, she claims that 25 men reached secret deals, secret settlements in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, on top of 4 who were never indicted too. People who were not charged. The government allegedly hid this information from her. Gotta break it down if this is true. What it could mean, who these people are, could she be set free? I got the perfect person to talk to, a former federal prosecutor. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Look, before we get into this, as we're about to talk about the Ghislaine Maxwell story, staying on top of the news today is so important. The problem is, with all the media bias these days, who knows what to believe? That is why I want to introduce you to our sponsor, Straight Arrow News. Okay, so Straight Arrow News is a personalized news platform that gives readers fact-based journalism to inform and build trust. Their Media Mist tool, it shows readers headlines that are not seen on mainstream outlets and provides useful commentary that cuts through all of that sensational spin. Their site, their app, it also points out all the bias with a media landscape tool to group sources by political leaning so you have full transparency. If you are ready for a better way to get the news, then go to san.com/sidebar or just click the link in my description. This is Straight Arrow News. Skip the drama, get the facts. Welcome back to trustworthy journalism. Okay, bombshell news in the continuing Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell saga. So according to a newly filed court document, Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, she was convicted of sex trafficking minors, sentenced to 20 years in prison. She claims that 25 men, maybe friends, associates of the deceased financier, have been protected under secret settlements, secret deals, and that this information was not revealed to her during her trial. This is on top of what she claims are 4 other individuals, alleged co-conspirators who were never charged. Obviously, I have thoughts. Is she?
Now she's setting up the grounds for the appeal. That now she could say she didn't have enough evidence to foot up a proper defense because they withheld things.
Yeah, they set her up to get out of that.
Or once they went through those files, when they moved her, this is how they hand her get out of jail free card.
Once I heard about them moving her, I already knew what time it was. I'm like, all right. So you going over there where you're familiar with.
They saying she not even in jail, not even in a minimum. They claim she in a minimum, some cushy shit. But I don't think she gonna be in there. I think before Trump get out of office, she will be out of jail. Even if it's his last day, he give her a pardon. She is not staying in there past his term.
I could see that. From what's happened so far, I could see that.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Look at all the people that he pardoned now. He pardoned motherfuckers that's on their way back to jail that's already arrested.
Yeah, he has a bad judge in pardoning.
Man, it's an agenda behind every pardon, bro. Every party.
So I do something for you, you do something for me.
Yeah. Perfect.
Telling the truth, particularly given her past in light of what she's trying to do now. If this is true, number one, wow. And who are these people? What is a secret settlement? Can we ever find out? Can the public ever find out? So I'm made of questions. I'm bringing on an expert right now to tackle all of this. I'm bringing on right now former federal prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, Gene Rossi. Gene, thank you so much for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. Before I get into any of these alleged people who made secret deals, first, just to provide context, just so our audience understands, this is a part of Ghislaine Maxwell's habeas corpus petition, okay? Now, we know that the Supreme Court previously denied even hearing her appeal of her conviction. So for anybody who doesn't know, just generally speaking, Gene, what is a habeas corpus petition and what can a court do with it?
Yeah, I'm about to get rid of him.
What was they about to get to?
That's a great question. The most famous habeas corpus petition that was granted is a famous case, I think, from the 1970s, Brewer versus Williams. It was a murder of a 10-year-old girl on Christmas Eve in Des Moines, Iowa. And it was a state case, and the defendant, Mr. Williams, had mental health challenges, was recently released from a mental institution, and he strangled and mutilated and killed a 12-year-old girl on Christmas Eve. And it went up through the state system, exhausted all appeals, and then Mr. Williams filed a petition in federal court called Brewer versus Williams. Who's Brewer? Brewer is the warden where he was being held, but that's a state case. And it went up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and they reversed. There was a violation of the right to counsel, new trial. He was convicted again. That's a state case. This is a federal case, and the same standards apply. Miss Ghislaine Maxwell is filing a civil lawsuit, not a criminal, a civil lawsuit as a petitioner, alleging that constitutional provisions have been violated, and she was convicted, and it was a miscarriage of justice. She raises about 9 points in her pro se petition that she allegedly wrote. She probably had some jailhouse lawyers, but 50 pages, or give or take a few pages. It's a civil lawsuit, and the burden of proof is preponderance that she has to bear to show that a constitutional violation occurred. And what would be the violations in this case?
Right. So just to be clear, in other words, this is somebody saying their detention is unlawful, right? And she's saying there's substantial new evidence that has come out. Throw out her conviction, throw out her sentence, that when you look at lawsuits that were filed, government disclosures, investigative reports, documents, it's very clear, right, that if she had this information, her whole trial would have been different. Her rights were violated. If I'm understanding it right, yeah, there's about 9 points. Just before we get into it, how often are these successful? I mean, how often can this result in a conviction being thrown out or a sentence, her being resentenced?
I can give you two good examples. One involves Gene Rossi. I convicted somebody of drug trafficking in 2006. Her name was, I'll call her Barbara. Fake name. Barbara Smith. That's a fake name. I convicted her. She got sentenced to 7 years. About a year later, she filed a habeas corpus petition. She had counsel, great counsel, and she argued that the prior attorneys did not give her good, adequate information regarding plea negotiations. Judge T.S. Ellis III, who treated me like a son, and he passed away a few months ago. He was a legend. He had the 2255 habeas hearing. He granted the petition. After he granted the petition, 5 minutes later, she pleaded guilty to time served. So I lost that hearing. Right. So it's possible. Second example is there's a famous case. It's a state case. It's Commonwealth of Virginia versus Justin Wolf. He was sentenced to death for drug trafficking and allegedly hiring somebody to kill a customer. It went up through the system, and the Virginia Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court reversed the conviction. It's now being appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, habeas petition, and that's all I'm going to say about it. because I'm assisting in that case. But it's possible to win both a federal habeas petition and also a state habeas petition. Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So we're going to go through some of her points, right?
They must have fucking violated his rights or something in some case. They had to find some type of loophole with that.
That's lawyer tricks. They good with finding loopholes. These are things that they go to school for, you know?
Yeah.
Fine print. But that's interesting. They said it was a such thing as you can win the federal and the state and be released. I'm like, oh, okay. But due to the loophole, you know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting game they playing right now. But that's where Ghislaine is gonna, make her way out of there. If not from that,
they already setting it up.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, they already setting it up, man.
Trump is definitely gonna get that part. I already know what time.
He got dirt on his ass.
Mm-hmm.
She got that dirt on him. So, he protecting his interests. Either that or she gonna get the Jeffrey Epstein treatment.
She would be the last of the survivors that was like in the know.
I do feel like there's only Frank Castle said that Jeffrey what's his name? The Charlie shooter, they don't got no evidence. Yeah, I do feel like his shit don't make no fucking sense. Because I can't see him being on a roof. He take apart the rifle to get off the roof and then put it back together to hide it. That make no damn sense whatsoever.
Nah.
That makes no sense. And then that old ass rifle he had, like that shit makes absolutely no sense, man. So I don't believe he'd actually did it. I don't even believe that that Luigi dude is the one who actually did the shit, because remember when the story first came out, they said he ditched his book bag. Remember? Then when they locked him up in Pennsylvania, they saying that they found him with the book bag and everything was inside. And then now everything is a ghost gun.
See, this is always a game of charades, and that's why. Look, I'm gonna tell you this much: coming up in the Bronx like we did, we knew things was bad. We knew, you know what I mean, how they play on a higher scale. Things was bad. So we just called it what it is. But as we grew into men, and we had a couple kids, and we looking at it from a different perspective, we like, hold on, this is way worse than we ever would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like people getting away with red rum. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, that's why I believe anything is possible. I don't let nothing get past me. Anything is possible until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
She says there's juror misconduct. The government misrepresented evidence. She brings up Epstein's non-prosecution agreement, back in the day, the one that he signed to get him away from being charged federally, because she has always argued that she was covered under that she was granted immunity. Maybe we'll get to that. But we got to start with this bombshell, okay? So this is the language directly from the filing. I'm going to read specifically from certain parts about these co-conspirators, these secret agreements, okay? Like this, quote, "The secret settlements with the 25 men were hidden from the petitioner," meaning Ghislaine Maxwell. "That information would have changed the outcome of the trial, and petitioner would have certainly called the men as witnesses. The degree of contamination and collusion between witnesses, combined with withholding of Brady material by the government — Brady material is evidence that helps the defendant, needs to be turned over — quote, "that would call into question the credibility of every complainant that interfaced with plaintiff's lawyers, all of them would have changed the outcome of the trial. And remember, there was always a lot of litigation with respect to Epstein and Maxwell that was in the background of the criminal case. So that argument that information was withheld from her and her team is very significant. And then you have this argument of selective prosecution, right? That she is being singled out, that other people could have been charged, but why is she the only one being charged like this? Is it an unfair prosecution? Quote,
we got that. Oh, hey, we're going to be making beats. You guys send me
a defendant moving to dismiss for selective prosecution bears the heavy burden of establishing at least prima facie that while others similarly situated have not generally been proceeded or prosecuted against because of conduct of the type forming the basis of the charge against him, this person has been singled out for prosecution. That's one thing you have to show. And that the government has a discriminatory selection of the defendant for prosecution. And so here she says, quote, none of the 4 named co-conspirators or the 25 men with secret settlements were indicted. And then there's this, how former Attorney General Bill Barr, quote, admitted that post Epstein's death, they were looking for someone to indict for trafficking. The petitioner was not named in Epstein's first or second indictment. 4 other women were named as co-conspirators, but none of the 4 were ever charged. The government could have indicted the 4 named co-conspirators or any of the 25 men that settled secretly with the plaintiff's lawyers, but did not. And then in the context of saying how litigation was used against her in the criminal case, quote, the intervening years were used to exploit the civil litigation process to gain a tactical advantage.
It's crazy because we know she fucking guilty and wrong as 2 left shoes, and they gonna find a loophole to let her go.
That's what leverage can do for you.
Yeah.
I'll get you out. I'll get you out of jail free card.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Way of the world, my man.
But they say money talks, bullshit walk.
That's a fact.
Using plaintiff's lawyers in the front and behind the scenes to defame petitioner in pleadings, working the media, promoting fake news, falsely portraying her and Epstein as one person, while working to invalidate, overturn the NPA, the non-prosecution agreement, using the CVRA as litigated in points 3 and 4 above. Again, so the NPA is Epstein's non-prosecution agreement back in 2007 that he signed. She claims she was covered by. She claims the section about granting immunity to co-conspirators means her. But the prosecution has always argued, and this was upheld by the court on appeal, that the only people bound by this are Florida prosecutors, not New York prosecutors. So they say her prosecution was legitimate. And the Supreme Court, as I mentioned, declined to hear her appeal. The CVRA, which I mentioned, is the Crime Victims' Rights Act. So it just establishes a bill of federal rights for a victim. But anyway, it goes on to say, quote, Edwards, who is Bradley Edwards, represented a lot of Jeffrey Epstein accusers. Edwards used as the proxy for AUSA Villafana, both conspiring to overturn the NPA through the CVR litigation, obtaining police records and victims' names from law enforcement, and USAO Florida AUSA Villafana sharing information with potential claimants, using the information for secret settlements with men with deep pockets in exchange for keeping the identity of those men out of the public arena to benefit the personal pocketbooks of plaintiffs' lawyers. And she says it's listed out, quote, in 2016, the plaintiffs' lawyers met to instigate an investigation into the petitioner. The plaintiffs' lawyers representing the complainants had approached the SDNY in 2016 in an effort to promote and instigate a criminal prosecution because the SDFL was not happy with the NPA, and the plaintiffs' lawyers wanted to assist the CVR case for financial motives. There were 4 employee co-conspirators that were not indicted, but named in NPA and referenced in the Jeffrey Epstein indictment. New evidence reveals that there were 25 men with which the plaintiffs' lawyers reached secret settlements that could equally be considered as co-conspirators. None of these men have been prosecuted, and none has been revealed to petitioner. She would have called them as witnesses had she known. Okay, Gene, a lot there. But basically the argument is there were these secret settlements. There's other people that could have been indicted. She's the only one that was indicted. And she didn't even know about these alleged secret settlements in the civil context, right? Because there was a lot of litigation regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Your thoughts?
There's a famous case called...
Before he get into his famous case, she mad they ass ain't locked up, and she is. She about to start snitching to the second what she found out was what. or they made promises to her in the beginning, and
that's what happened. Because if that was the case, she wouldn't have got moved around like that. They already made deals on the back end for her silence. That's how I'm looking at the whole situation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's nasty work.
Mm-hmm.
It's nasty work.
Kyle v. Whitley. It was decided April 19th, 1995, the same day, ironically, as the Oklahoma City bombing. I remember that case very well. And what the Supreme Court said, it talked about the difference between Brady information and what they call Giglio information, Giglio. Brady information is information that raises a reasonable probability, not beyond a reasonable doubt, not even beyond preponderance, a reasonable probability that had that information been provided to the defendant, the outcome of the proceeding, the sentencing, the verdict would have been different. What I hear from you and what I hear from the reporting is of those 25 or so settlements, there's a reasonable probability that had it been disclosed to Mix Maxwell's trial team, they could have investigated and gotten information as to why they were not charged, what benefits they got, and more important, whether it would help her argument of selective prosecution. And I would add this, it also could possibly help an argument for vindictive prosecution, where the prosecutors want to focus just on her. Vindictive and selective are kind of like cousins, and they both are bad. They are hard to prove, but this is evidence that could cause a reasonable probability that it could help her and cause a change in the verdict or the decision of the court to sentence her to 20 years.
Devilish.
So all I can say is this is a hot mess. And if there's a hearing on her petition, and there likely will be, you can guarantee that prosecutors may be called, either in the Southern District or in the Florida U.S. Attorney's Office, Miami. The lead prosecutor in Miami, who I understand wrote a 50-page draft indictment before Epstein got his sweetheart deal at the state level, she may be called. The agents may be called. This is a hot mess.
Right. I have to ask you, though, and we'll talk. I mean, you kind of mentioned this might be something that could go to her favor, but I'm confused. We have heard from the government say before that there was no Jeffrey Epstein list, right? That there was no co-conspirators, collaborators, other people to charge. Is it possible she's telling the truth? Is it possible she's accurate? If you have people who entered into settlements, arguably they could have been brought up on criminal charges. I mean, unless I'm looking at this completely wrong. So is this something that the federal government, and I'll talk about what their latest filing too, is this something?
They gave them settlements. They probably made, I'm about to say they made them sign NDAs and shit that they couldn't. Even when you get into a car accident, usually when you sign that settlement, it'll say, we giving you this money, not that we taking liability, but because we want to, blah, 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 and you can't really talk about it and shit. Mm-hmm. I think when I got into my accident, they gave me the settlement. It was like more for peace of mind, not admitting guilt. I was like, it's going to cost you more for your peace of mind than this little bit of money.
That's a fact.
I think it's just enough to like cover the cost of fixing my car. But yeah, they.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if it's signed under distress, a lot of stuff, a lot of contracts like NDAs, prenups, all that shit. If it's signed under distress, that shit is null and void.
Mm-hmm. Against your will.
Yeah.
The federal government didn't know about? Is it true? Maybe these people did enter into settlements, but they couldn't be brought up on a crime. Because I'm wondering, there's always a question of whether Maxwell's credible or not. So you tell me what's going on here.
All right, you're here right now to learn what you don't know, yes? If so, I'm going to dive into the 5 biggest misconceptions that keep people stuck.
Jesse, I would be shocked if the prosecutors, either in Florida or SDNY, New York, did not have some inkling, if not actual knowledge, that these settlements were happening. And it's not prohibited for criminal prosecutors to gather information from civil attorneys who are parallel working to get the same goal. All right. They were trying to get a settlement of their clients, these 25 guys, if you will. And I can't believe that the federal prosecutors were clueless that those negotiations were happening and when they did happen. The key issue for me is the prosecutors have to argue that there was nothing in those settlements, nothing regarding the settlements of these 25 alleged defendants or alleged men. There was nothing in there that could possibly have helped her in her criminal case. It goes back to that test. There's nothing that would raise a reasonable probability that if she had this information, the outcome, the guilty verdicts, would have been different. That's their argument. The government has to make that argument or they're going to lose.
So people listening to this video, their main question is, okay, who are these people? Are we ever going to have that publicized? Now, the reason I'm going to ask you that, this is what I have to say. So put into context, we could also talk about whether Maxwell is credible. I mean, she met with Deputy AG Todd Blanche over the summer. She's set to be deposed by the House Oversight Committee February 9th, even though her attorneys indicate she plans to plead the 5th, invoke her right against self-incrimination. By the way, her attorney, David Marcus, recently indicated that her testifying could jeopardize this habeas petition, which we're talking about. But this is what I want to ask you, whether or not this will ever become public, whether or not we would ever see who these 25 people are. Because let's not forget what's happening right now. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It's forcing the DOJ to hand over everything in their possession related to Epstein. They had 30 days to do it. They reportedly have only turned over.
It shouldn't even took 30 days. They should have said release them and release that shit. I give them to the next day since it's millions of files, but it shouldn't take all these days and redaction. It should have just, the way they got it is the way they should have delivered it.
Right. You can't put something like this on the back burner as serious and sensitive as this information is. You know what I mean?
It's taking up all this time to redact their names out of that shit.
Yeah. Yo. I think our leaders are more involved than we really know. Because I'm sure this was a joint decision, like to subtract these names and take their time releasing the documents. What's funny is Elon was online talking about release the documents. You know what I
mean? That's why I kind of don't believe that whole email with him, but I don't put it past him. But I feel he probably felt like my shit is bad, but your shit is terrible. You know?
Yeah. I could see them having a pissing contest like that.
Who's Stephen Miller? He said Stephen Miller is the leader. Now I want to know who Stephen Miller is. I never paid him no mind. Yeah, Elon was like, I'm willing. You gotta know, like, that's why I want us to do the other show talking about Anton Daniels. And then, because I was gonna do a video about Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb and the 48 Laws of Power and how both of them underestimated and didn't use how they used the 48 Laws of Power and how they also didn't pay attention to other laws that fucked them over.
Yeah, that could backfire real quick.
Yeah. Anton underestimated his opponent and he didn't plan all the way to the end, you know? But he also used to get others to do his dirty work because it ain't a coincidence they catch beef and now all of a sudden they releasing tapes of him hitting women and shit, you know?
Yeah, that's the kind of games that people with money play. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like what we watching, but just on a
lower scale.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know what I mean? I hope people taking notes from this because this is the game plan. This is how life is played. You know, when you're in these arenas with people with these mindsets. So,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can stay out the way or you get dirty. That part.
Yeah, fucking.
Damn, what time is it? 3 in the morning.
Yeah, I
a
just
small
got
percentage
hit
of the
asking why
files,
I'm
or
up
at least
so
a
late.
small percentage have been made public. And this is interesting because the DOJ filed this, I think, just the other day with 2 judges from the Southern District of New York, federal court. And I'm going to read you a portion of the letter. Again, keep in mind whether or not these 25 men, whether or not these settlements, these unidentified individuals, will we ever know who they are? So it says this. The department respectfully submits this letter as an update to its previous submissions to the court regarding the review and redaction of certain of the materials required to be published pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The department continues to make substantial progress in its efforts to identify potentially responsive documents, review those documents, redact victim identifying information and privileged information, and engage in quality control processes, and to prepare responsive documents for publication in accordance with the Act. Indeed, the department has reviewed millions of pages of materials, applying redactions as appropriate. The department continues to engage with victims and victims' counsel and apply quality control checks. These efforts include not only manual review by hundreds of department attorneys, agents, and others conducting page-by-page review of millions of pages of documents, but also electronic searches for victims' names or other identifiers to isolate documents that are particularly sensitive and require supplemental review, as well as relief from various protective orders issued in other courts. The department currently expects that it will complete this with respect to substantially all of the potentially responsive documents, including publication to the Epstein Library website, which is public, in the near term. The department is not able to provide a specific date at this time and cautions that this ongoing work, included its quality control and all this, may require additional efforts to ensure the protection of victim identifying information. It says, in addition, pursuant to the court's directive, including attorneys from the SDNY, they've taken an additional review to ensure that any production is consistent with both the letter and spirit of the court's protective order. So basically, Gene, they're saying we need more time. It's going to take a little bit, but near term. Again, from this, do you think these settlements are going to be made public? Are these individuals going to be identified if these settlements are true?
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is
If I had to bet money,
I doubt they're gonna do it because they victims. I want to say that before he say what they gotta say, because they victims. You ain't gonna want a victim, put the victims out there like that, except for the ones that's already made public. What you think? Can't hear you. Your mic muted. You can hear me? Your mic is muted. Oh, there you go.
Pretty much agree to the same thing you're saying. They wouldn't use a victim, an unknown victim, to bring out another victim unless it was a known, unknown thing. And plus, the way they're laying out the documents is everybody's all here. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying they have a John Doe. They're not saying they have a CS1. Like we passed all of that. Or CI. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We passed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think they could be confidential informant because they would be part of the crime, but they the actual victim and shit. And then they was minors. If they wasn't minors, they would.
Exactly.
That should be public information.
That's the main thing. So now you would be exploiting them if you were to utilize them in that way. So
But they
on thin ice with that one. You know what I mean? So now they got to play it how they play it.
Yeah, they.
But bro, the rabbit hole just gets deeper, man. And we looking at it, we know what it is, but we just gonna have to let it play out and unfold the way it is.
I'll tell you from my job, I already know when shit hit the news, it's the story they want out there, not what actually happened. Unless what actually happened make them look good. Tell you, the first thing they do is they call that shit River City. They lock down all communication with us. That we can't say shit. We don't say shit until after they put out the narrative they want out in the public. I remember we was in River City when that shit happened with Bin Laden. I was in the gym. We didn't know why we was in River City. And then I seen what happened. I'm like, yo, we've been watching that shit on our streams for months. and didn't even know we was the ones that did the shit until afterwards. Yeah, that's it.
I think the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, and all those people below them, plus the White House, because they're working together, they're not going to disclose the identities of those 25 or so persons who had settlements, civil settlements. They may provide a general summary, but not any details. I will defend the Department of Justice here. There's a ton of documents. And when they say hundreds of prosecutors are sifting through that, prosecutors and paralegals probably, I take them at their word because it is a lot of documents. I will say this. They're not going to be as transparent as the Attorney General suggested in February, March, when she said she had the list on my desk and she's going to disclose it. It's not going to be that transparent. They're going to redact a ton of information. You're going to have a kerfuffle with the committees, oversight committees on the Hill. That's going to be a hot mess. I will say this. In Brown versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court said that the states have to move with all deliberate haste and speed. Okay, that ended up being 12 to 15 years. The near term, what is the near term? Is that this year? Is it next year? Is it 2030? I smile when I hear the phrase near term with no date. So I don't think we're going to get this anytime soon, the disclosure of these individuals. And if we do, we get at best a very rough summary of what's there. But it goes back to what I said before.
I told you that should be years from now. They probably have movies, documentaries. That should be like that whole shit with Bin Laden, where they had zero. What was that shit? Zero Dark 30 or some bullshit. And they gonna sensationalize it and all that bullshit.
Yeah, I do think when they do drop this documentary, it's going to be watered down just like how the list is now, which is the way they intended to be.
Shit, Diddy might do the documentary.
All right, hold your breath on that one. He got to worry about how he going to mingle back out in society when he finally do get out.
Nah, he gonna be alright when he come home. We got too many suckers in today's society. They look at the dollar sign. They don't look at morals. I think if 50 do it 10 years from now, he's still around. 50 would be dead in his 60s by then. I think he'll do that shit then. But as long as this administration there, 50 ain't playing with Trump. He don't want that smoke.
Yeah, they cutting him his tax breaks.
Yeah, he don't want that smoke with him. But I could see 50 not giving a fuck in like 5-10 years. But right now, I don't know. He'll probably be mad because he ain't parting him. You know what I mean? But like, shit. He got Obama elected. Remember, he had the Vote or Die T-shirts, all that other bullshit.
And then
like all these rappers, all these entertainers, the same motherfuckers they go against now, they was all capping for them and clapping and pussy popping for them back in the day. Like they was all of them wanted to be like Trump back in the day.
So when you say that, right? Mm-hmm. Do you foresee after Trump gets out of office, Nicki Minaj kind of switching up, changing her stance?
Nicki Minaj trying. I don't even know why she's trying not to get deported. To keep it a buck, she'll be the queen of Trinidad. like,
I mean, yeah, she is.
A lot of people I know from Trinidad they do it bad, but like she been over here. They saying she illegal, but I don't. Was she born in Trinidad?
I don't really believe that because she been touring and all this stuff. How you doing all this if you illegal? Let's keep it a bang. So I don't believe that. I believe there's another reason for it. And if you look between the lines, read between the lines, you'll know that.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel something. Maybe she trying to get her fucking she trying to get Zubango off that register list.
Oh, yo.
Shots fired, right? Like maybe she trying to get him off that register list.
Round of applause. Round of applause.
You know?
You hit it
See,
right
the
on.
Macs don't care no more because they spend that money.
Hit the nail on the head with that one.
Nah, man.
Yeah, that's
I
the
mean,
way of
hold
the
on.
world, you know.
Me.
I do something for you, you do something for me, you know. Quid pro quo all the time.
Let me
That's
see.
how it
Say, what? Chatbot got me mad. He up there defending Nikki husband, but yeah, man, shots fired.
Yeah. Yeah, I just read all that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that shit would even work on here. I know it'll work on what you call it. Usually on OBS. I'm about to fuck it, let him rock out, right? Shit.
Oh boy.
Right, I had cut it off. I'm about to cut it back on. Him and Frank going at it. Fuck it, let him go at it. Frank, you arguing with ChatGPT?
Go get a. Yeah. Chat going crazy. Shots fired.
Yeah. I was in the gym. I didn't even make it to the gym tonight because I went to the barbershop instead. I meant to go with my barber. You know, my barber, that motherfucker cut to 2 a.m. But
That's a grind. That's a heavy grind.
he they one of the only ones that be on a business like that. Cause I mean, I was living in Virginia Beach. These motherfuckers used to shut down like at 4. I'm like, everybody get out for work at like 4 or 5. Like, how y'all closing the barbershop at 4? But
yeah, that's you would definitely have to reroute his schedule now.
But my barber, I fucks with him. Like, I like it as an old school barbershop and you ain't spending an arm and a leg to get a haircut. You know? Like, even tonight I got a haircut, tape with beard lined up. It's $20.
Those are hard to find these days. $20 is just a shape up.
Yeah, I mean, I know he gave me a tape to line my beard up and everything. And then I give him a tip because that shit's still cheaper if I would have went there anywhere else. I'll tell you, me and my youngin go. Like, I'm taking him tomorrow in the morning to get his cut. But usually we go for both our haircuts, I'll pay like $40. And that's with the tip.
I can't even hold you though. Ever since the pandemic,
Yo,
I've been doing it
I'm
myself.
gonna keep it real with you, Frank Castle. I never watched none of the barbershops, bro. I probably seen like clips, but I never watched that shit. Nick used to lie about her age. She like our age lying. She used to shave like 2 years off that shit. Now I think she telling the truth about her age. But Nikki should be like 43, going on 44. But she used to say she was like, I think back in the day, she used to say she was like 2 or 3 years younger than us.
You know what? I never thought about that.
Yo, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
A lot of people, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, a few people that I talked to from like back in the day, like when I was they said I was mean going through high school and shit. I don't think so.
Bro, she our age, bro. Her birthday in December.
Is she our age now? So now they changed it to the correct shit?
December 82.
I'm telling you, before that, she used to say she was born in like 84 or some shit, 84, 85. But she went to school with people that was our age, that I went to junior high with.
It's possible because
probably me mugging, but you really,
school.
yo, I was a cool dude, bro. I ain't had no problems with nobody. But the problem is I didn't play with nobody, you know? Like, if you had an issue with me, I ain't had no problem handling my business, bro. You either beat my ass or I beat your ass. I gave out more ass whoopings than I took though. And in New York, people used to test you a lot, man. So when I was in high school, I used to chill, bro. I'd be chill. Especially by the time I got to Morris. I could say when I was in Columbus and shit, I was tripping on cat. Morris, I felt it was whack because like you grew up in I grew up in 90s. We were born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. We graduated 2000. But when I got to Morris, I felt like Morris was whack because it was in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So I knew 90% of the people at the school. But Columbus was a wild spot because we was outnumbered.
You out of the area, yeah. When somebody else.
No, I wasn't. Like, I had text her about I'm lying. I was mean. No, I wasn't. I was laid back. They had me in the mini school. That shit was funny when I first got there. They're like, we got the perfect spot for you. They'll fucking walk me out the back door.
I was in a mini school.
Oh, she said I was with the prospect cats. You do remember. You said the mini school be used back. They don't even got the mini school there no more. You know that, right?
Yeah, it's a
I was driving by, that shit's leveled. I was like, oh, wow. Memories, man.
Yeah, I know, man. I know the class I had to go to, it was like near where the basketball court was. It was like towards that outside gate.
I mean, people used to tell on me so much, bro, because my grandmother, man, she had the store right there on 167.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, when I was in school, if I had to use the bathroom, I went home. I'm going to my grandmother's house. I ain't using these nasty bathrooms. They used to snitch on me all the time, bro. But that shit used to be turned up. The mini school was mad soft cats in the mini school, man.
Man, hell with all that. I'm thinking about the memories for Ernie's, man.
Ernie's was the shit.
Sandwiches, man.
My favorite teacher though was Miss Johnson and Mr. Parrish. They used to write me in boot camp and all that shit. I remember Miss Johnson sent me mad like snacks and shit. They tore me apart for that shit, bro. They tore me apart for that shit. They're like, who the fuck is you? You got people sending you snacks.
I can't remember what class I had.
Sunday came around. I was like, look, player, can y'all at least let me have some of that shit? I'll share that shit with the rest of the division. Because Sunday was the day we get to chill in boot camp. They could pay me to go to boot camp now. Boot camp would be easy. That should be actually a break.
I mean, once you've been through the motions, now it becomes like, just a place to, let your head down.
I fuck with Miss Pat. He used to write me all the time. I think he used to, all the girls used to chill at Mr. Parrish office because they all had a little crush on him. I had to tell my grandmother, old ass, she can't do nothing with him. But how me and him got cool is he used to teach in the mini school. He dropped his wallet in there, right? So he dropped his wallet in there, and one of the cats grabbed his shit. Like, I seen it, I grabbed it. I was like, yo, give me that. They gave it to me. You know them motherfuckers ain't play with me in Morris. They know how I got down. They gave me his wallet. I ran out of class. I caught him before he went to the main building. I'm like, yo, here go your wallet. So he was like, yo, everything is in it. So I looked at him like, I was like, I don't know, but I mean, let me know if it ain't in there. I'll get your shit back. So then he's like, you ain't looking? I'm like, fuck, I need to look in your wallet for. I'm pretty sure I got more money than you. So then he looked. I just reached in my pocket like, I got money. Put it away. He looked at me like, so then I went back inside the main school and shit. And then he came to me. And he was like, yo, everything was in my wallet. I said, that's good, Then he was like, how you get all that money? I was like, don't even worry about none of that, man. I was like, I'm good though. So then yeah, like I was like, I'm good though. So then he came like, yo, like, what are you doing in here? Then he looked up my record on why I was in the mini school. And he was like, yo, you in the mini school for what you did at your last school? I'm like, yeah. So he asked me what happened. I'm like, yo, I can't really talk about that because I think it still was an open case. I was like, I can't really talk about it, but I'm innocent, And then he was like, yeah, like, I looked up your joint, and then he looked at my record. Was like, yo, they never got your school records from your other schools, you know. So then he was like, they got that you got 4 credits. So then when they had that I had 4 credits, when he got my record, I was over the credits that I should have already graduated.
Oh, so they should have let you out early.
Bro, you know how you need 40 credits to graduate? I graduated with 57.
So they gypped you, man. Come on,
Because
man.
when I went to school down south, they credits was like for every 1 credit it is counted for 3 credits in New York. And I was in all the advanced classes because it was nothing better to do but go to school down there, bro. It was nothing fun to do but go to school, and I played on the basketball team and all that shit. So then they got all my records, and they like, in New York, I needed to take health and chemistry. I did fail chemistry in South Carolina. I used to go to sleep in that class. I took those 2 classes. They put me back in the main building. Like, I graduated from the main building.
Yes.
And
So
then I
what's
went to
that?
college. That shit was whack.
Well, it's not for everybody, but hey. Look.
Yo, it's funny, bro.
It's great that you know what
He
I'm
was
saying?
in the army because they used to talk to me about that. When he used to always tell me, go to college, go to college. 'Cause I remember I wrote a book report, and like they was shocked how when they gave us the book report as our final assignment, I finished that shit in a day, and it was like 20 pages. It was like, yo, how did I was like, yo, when I read books, that shit in my head is like I'm watching a movie.
Okay. So you see it playing out as you
I see, yeah.
not everybody got that ability, so that's
Yeah, I'm glad you caught me too, Randy. I be on it. I don't be fucking going live like I should, though. I used to go live all the time. Then YouTube play games with me, demonetize me. Then they monetize me again. Then I caught beef with Umar Johnson, which he really don't want that smoke. And I be having fun just embarrassing him. That's why I got the merch for his school on, you know? Donations forever, FD&G never.
go back and watch the video.
Umar Johnson is one of the biggest clowns in the black community. All he do is lie and steal from black people.
It's like a pimp to the community. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get your money. At the same time, bullshit you along the way.
Why said I'm me because I pick on Uber? I don't pick on him. He's just a clown. I think when I met Mr. Paris and fucking Miss Johnson was my baby though. Like she used to look out for all of us in the middle school. And there was another teacher too though that used to like a biker. You know what I'm talking about? Tall white dude.
I didn't have him.
He was like the dean of that shit. Damn, I can't think of his name, bro. I gotta look through the yearbook. But me and him used to be in there kicking it and shit because I used to go over there. They used to just fuck with me because they stopped giving me the regular work. When they used to see that I knew all that shit, and I was like, yo, I went to private school. And they was like, you can't. I told them what school I went to. They're like, you went to Mine City Micro? I was like, yeah, man. And then when they got my records, they was like, what the fuck are you doing in the mini school? And they took me out of that shit.
Oh, that's fire. Look.
But then they gave me one class in the mini school so they could have a success story for somebody that graduated from that shit.
If I stayed long enough, I'd have seen you in there. But
They didn't even give me a chance to be in the main building. When I checked in, I got student of the year, all that shit when I graduated. Only thing I didn't get was valedictorian. But I got all the other shit. They had some Spanish girl up there doing that shit. You know who I couldn't stand? What was that fucking lady name? Damn, I can't think her name. She was a guidance counselor. Fucking clown. She used to live on my own Jefferson and fuck with all the African cab drivers from Star. Damn, what the fuck is her name?
Yeah, you knew her very
Miss McIntosh. A fucking clown. Well, she's a clown, bro. She ain't like me for no apparent reason, bro. I think just because I was homie.
No relation to the computer makers?
Bro, she used to live right down the street from, literally down the street from me. Like 2 houses down from my fucking cousin. And I remember she seen me after I went away to the Navy. And we was like, I think I was there visiting, and me and fucking dude was on dirt bikes. And she saw me, she's like, man, what are you doing in the bike? What are you selling drugs? I was like, no, I'm actually a plane captain. She was like, oh! For real? I was like, shut up, bitch. You had me most liable to be in jail. Get out of here.
Now that's a success story right there.
Nah, she's the straight con. She used to wonder how I was getting good grades. I was like, because I could read and write.
Judging a book by its cover, huh? It's a prime example. Or should I say judging a book by its environment?
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You said you got, I'm telling you, fucking Miss McIntyre, you got her on Facebook? I would love to see her ass now. I rub that shit all in her face. I'll tell you, I used to talk to this girl in Morris, right? And she used to like tell her, you need to leave him alone. I remember we went on a senior trip. She had security to come because I was going on a trip. I wasn't even bad. That's the crazy part, bro. I was a good guy. I was a nerd.
That's a shame.
I was a nerd, bro.
Have security accommodate you on.
Yo, I think she really wanted to smash him. I'm telling them Africans was running. She bought a dude with her on that shit. And that was like the worst senior trip in senior trip history. We went to Busch Gardens, bro.
Well,
that shit's trash, bro. All I can remember, they had a bunch of bathrooms. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. She used to mess with all the African cab drivers at Star, bro.
Well, at least she had a taste for money.
I don't know, maybe. I think she was Jamaican. I don't know. But when she found out I had Caribbean descent, she was like, for real? I'm like, yeah.
It off you a little bit.
Nah. She could not stand me for no reason, bro. I never did nothing to that. I used to talk to this chick. I remember we went to prom. She was like, I don't know what you see in him. He's such a thug. He's this, he's that. I'm like, no, I'm not, bro. I'm a good guy. I'm a nerd.
How about now? How about now?
Yeah, now look at me, a chief.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be disgusting if she went. I was a baby, bro. I was a baby back then. I was like 17. Like, I was a baby.
Man, if you see her these days, she gonna have to apologize.
I remember my health teacher could have got it. And when I was in South Carolina, my math teacher, oh my God, she was fine. I'm trying to think. When I was in there, I used to.
Look,
I wasn't mean though, man. I was the sweetest guy you could have met.
I know this much. I wish I got to stay in the school longer. You know what I'm saying? The main building.
I didn't want to go to that shit.
In there, let me see, what was I seeing? You had the seniors, they would be throwing food around in the lunchroom.
The best part about that school is I used to get out at 12 o'clock.
How'd you get out so early?
The mini school got out at 12:40.
Oh, shit. Well, then
Our last period was lunch. No, when you ain't gonna go lunch, go home.
Yeah, that's true.
Or your teachers come to you.
Yeah, you're right. You stay right there. But I forgot about you get out that early. I remember being discouraged. I only went to the mini school twice.
My last year, I'm lying. My last year, I had needed 3 classes because you gotta in New York then. I don't know how it is now. You had to take music, you had to take health and chemistry. And as the 3 classes I needed to graduate, even though I had enough credit, and I remember the music class, I needed to pass. I needed to fucking know the words for the song in West Side Story. And I printed that shit out and I just put it on my desk and copied that shit word for word. Chemistry, my teacher liked me because I don't know how to. I tried my best and I was getting barely passing that shit. I don't even know how I passed that shit in college. College, it was actually easier in college.
Go figure, right? You think it'd be opposite.
The crazy shit, I got straight A's in math in fucking high school, got to college, I had to go to remedial courses for the first year.
It is crazy when you don't practice something.
Nah, I wasn't a theater kid. That shit was like history of music, bro. I used to play instruments though. I used to play like steel drums. I used to play the xylophone. My daughter, she was doing the flute. I made her do band when she first like went to junior high. Then. Lord have mercy, that was the worst mistake of my life, man. They was terrible, bro. When she said she didn't want to do that shit no more and she wanted to do chorus, oh man, that was the best decision in her fucking life, man. She could sing better than they could play, but the whole, as a collective, they was terrible at band, bro.
Well, at least they made a collective decision.
I mean, she made the decision to say she don't want to do that. Now, chorus, she could sing. She don't look like she liked to do it, but she could do it. But Lord have mercy, man. That shit was, ugh. The singing, I could go to her concert.
Okay. Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. Like right now, I'm about to hit the fridge up or something. The boy is hungry.
Yo, it's crazy though, because the way I did act in high school, that's why I'm so strict on my daughter. I be watching her ass. I'm like, You ain't gonna get nobody like I was.
Yeah, man.
Then again, they talk about I'm mean. The way her attitude is, I doubt anybody fucking would be around her. You see how we go at it.
Yeah, that is funny.
Sometimes she'll say some shit that catch me off guard that I gotta give her props. I'm like, that's a good one. You got me. That was cool.
Yeah, that's a good relationship.
I mean, sometimes I could think I'm looking good. I mean, she be like, "You gonna wear that shit outside?" I'm like, "What?" That's our beef now. She like to slip curses in there. Then I'll be like, "Did she just say what I think she said?" Like, you a teenager, but you ain't an adult.
That part. My 19-year-old, she'll do that. She'll slip the, but she tries like, with me. I don't be communicating with her like that unless I'm upset about something she know better doing.
Let's see the rest of this fucking clown real fast. I'm drinking the tea already.
If those settlements have information that could help Ghislaine Maxwell in her 2255 petition, her habeas petition, which was filed, I think, December 17th. If it does, then a judge is going to order the Department of Justice, even if the names are redacted, to just disclose the contents of those settlements and any benefit, and this is the key, any benefit that the government gave those settled civil defendants in exchange for the civil settlements. That's important because it goes back to selective prosecution, possibly vindictive, and it could have provided evidence that could have helped her in her trial.
This game, you're not ready for it.
You're in the middle of this beautiful sci-fi environment, and you're seeing intrigue, the espionage, the alliances form, the power that shifts around, and it's amazing to watch.
Simple actions can have
trial.
And I just want to be clear about something. Even though there's been a lot of questions about her credibility and questions about, the substance, the content of what she told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, whether she was trying to say anything to get some sort of deal or get a pardon of some kind, her potentially testifying in front of Congress, that committee, she at the very least is not going to say anything about these settlements or reveal who these people are. I mean, I don't even know if she knows the identities per se about who these people are, but we shouldn't expect that if she does testify that she's going to spill the beans on this.
Not going to spill the beans. I would add this. The famous case of Brady versus Maryland. It involved facts, not that the defendant was innocent. What the prosecutor willfully withheld in Brady versus Maryland, I think it was a 1950s case, the conduct was, what they withheld was information that mitigated the role that Mr. Brady had in a robbery. It mitigated the role. He didn't say I'm innocent. It's just that I was a small fish in a big pond. These witnesses could be like Brady witnesses in Brady versus Maryland. They could say, you know what? Epstein was the key guy and her role was de minimis or was a lot less than Epstein. That's still Brady information that could help a jury render a verdict. Going back to Kyles v. Whitley, April of 1995, what the court said is, if you have she has 9 issues. Yeah. If you have 9 issues that constitutional rights were violated, and she has 9, if each one individually doesn't result in a reasonable probability that the outcome could be different, if you combine the 9, or say you combine 5 or 6 of the 9, and you put it, I love food, if you put it in a big salad bowl, that combined cumulative effect of those 5 to 6 violations, each one not by itself can do it, but if you combine them all, that can result in a new trial and a vacating of the conviction. That was a very important part of Kyle v. Whitley. They call it the cumulative test.
Okay, so you tell me, out of the 9 points, are there any ones in particular, individual?
I'll tell you one that I kind of like.
Okay.
Juror number 50 has a lot to answer for.
Well, explain it. So there's apparently
during voir dire, jury selection, either verbally and or in writing, jury.
So Frank, that's a bot and it's human at the same time. It's my other account, but it's ChatGPT answering you.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah, that's right now. It's ChatGPT answering him.
Special edition.
He says Skynet. No way. I'm just here to help with info in the chat because I told him on StreamAbot that he's a helpful assistant while I'm live streaming. I don't know why it's double texting though.
Are asked questions, either by the judge and or the attorneys, depends on the court. Those answers to those questions are under oath, subject to the pains and penalties of perjury. According to her allegations, and I just read them, juror number 50 has a lot of inconsistencies in her answers. And it appears to me that the trial judge was a little lenient on those inconsistencies. Ghislaine Maxwell's arguing that those aren't just innocent mistakes. Those are willful and intentional perjurious conduct and answers. And the issue was, this juror 50 was a guy, he had been subjected to sexual abuse back in the day, and there was a specific question, have you ever been subjected to sexual abuse? 1, and have you discussed this with anybody recently? Well, yes, he did get subject to sexual abuse. And 2, according to Maxwell's filing, he was discussing it with reporters. So juror number 50 by itself could raise an issue. And why? It's like you have a bank robbery case and a juror gives a false answer about whether they were a teller in a bank. at which the defendant pointed a gun. And it wasn't that case, but it was one before. If you allow that teller, former teller in a bank who was subject to robbery in another matter on a jury, there is no way that defendant's going to get an acquittal.
Yeah.
That's the argument Maxwell's making. This juror poisoned the jury pool.
So I will agree with you with the habeas petition different from an appeal, right? If you have new information that's come out that you've only recently learned, this is very important. There are some arguments that she's repeating from her appeal. And I mean, just to end this up with the biggest one, the non-prosecution agreement. This is something that she's argued before, right? The non-prosecution agreement that Epstein entered into in 2007. There's a section that extends immunity to, quote, any potential co-conspirator. She's made the argument that covers me. But courts, time and again, have said, no, that only bound Florida prosecutors, not New York prosecutors. The Supreme Court didn't even take that up. Is this even relevant for her habeas petition? Would this even have grounds? Is this strong enough for her?
I work for the government, so I know I'm getting watched all the time. Listen, lock her ass up. She shouldn't fucking get out. Throw away the key and put it in fucking a USP. Don't have her ass in no fucking minimum security shit. Put her ass in prison.
Yeah, in the fair.
They put our ass in prison. We did it.
World. Yeah.
Some minor shit. So lock her ass up.
Or have her somewhere in luxury, eating Pringles, drinking grape juice with steak. You want to be treating her right in the penitentiary. Yo, that would be some shit if she wrote a book.
You know that's coming soon.
Yeah, because that's always the model. It's always that. I could see Puff writing a book too when he get out.
Nobody want to read that shit. Except for Shaw G. He can't get it out his mouth, bro. He be, oh my God, he's in love with that man, bro.
Oh, Puff got to look for him when he get out.
He got to be paying him.
Yeah. Be putting in work for him. To this day, he still be reporting.
He got to be on the payroll.
It look like he getting tired though. Like his energy level is like,
nobody want to hear that
say
shit.
That what she's brought up in her habeas petition does not affect dramatically, if at all, the argument that this non-prosecution agreement applies to Southern District of New York. It's rehashing old arguments. Yes, it's black letter law. It's in writing, in the letters. Whenever a government has a non-prosecution agreement, let's say the Miami U.S. Attorney, it only applies to that U.S. Attorney's office. It doesn't apply to the other 93 U.S. Attorney offices. That's black letter. You could be charged with drug trafficking in EDVA, and Michigan U.S. Attorney's Office in Detroit could charge money laundering based on the same facts, because they're separate sovereigns, if you will, each U.S. Attorney's Office, when it comes to non-prosecution agreements or letter immunity.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's see how this shakes up. Right now, she is potentially going to testify in front of Congress, but she's sitting at FPC Bryan. It's a minimum security federal prison in Texas. She was moved there, by the way, after her meeting with Todd Blanche. But let's see what happens. Gene Rossi, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
That's a pleasure.
And that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
This motherfucker look half dead, too. He probably like 22.
it'd be like,
oh, he's aging like milk.
Cigarettes do that to you.
Oh, Will Smith, that's a wild boy too, bro. They saying he like boys. You know he getting sued for that, right?
I mean, look at it like this: if it was his name on that list too.
Nah, he like boys. They messing with girls. Like boys. That's what I don't know, man. Will, I don't know. I don't believe. I don't put it past Will, but I don't believe that shit though.
Yeah, I need some. I need some, more solid, evidence. Like, you got to come to me with something that actually I can't deny it. Right now, it's just hearsay. But I will say this. I do keep my mind open because of everything I've seen up until the age I'm at now, man, anything's possible. And that's a snap effect. Take my
I remember when I was in Morris, I had an abusive relationship. I used to get beat the fuck up.
Is
Remember, I was
caregiving
mean.
taking
I used to
away
get beat up.
time, money, and energy? You're giving your time, your energy, your...
My team has certain.
It's the same shit. This is crazy though. Epstein. Epstein's wild. He looks like a pervert to me though.
I don't know.
I know they say hindsight 2020, but he looks weird.
All that went down is wild, but the aftermath is just wild.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very disappointing.
So we're gonna react to my video.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. I'm gonna take my ass to bed.
It's 4 o'clock.
I got to get up and do more shoveling. Well, snow blowing. Let me see what we got. Holla if you hear me.
I need to fucking. I got like that shit on my Scream Deck shit, but that should be. Oh, we had the patience for that shit. So yeah, I'm tired too, man. Yeah, we on the East Coast. We on the East Coast, but we ain't by each other. I'm in the South. You know, they already ready to shut down the city because fucking they talk about we getting snow this weekend. Even on last weekend, they said that shit. I told my mom, she came here. She's like, oh my God, they gotta shut down. I said, Ma, this shit is not gonna be like New York. We got the snow came, that shit was gone before we woke up.
I mean, it's going more out the shore, so we shouldn't be getting.
They told us what we had to probably be like 6 to 10 inches. That might shut this bitch down for 2 weeks. They made sure we took our computers home from work. Like we gonna work from home. I feel like, yo, if the base is shut down, I shouldn't have to work at all.
Makes sense.
But we serve all the servers. It's like 600 servers we fucking give support to.
That's called what do you say? It's non-exempt,
I tell you one thing, when I caught, you know what I'm saying, I hit them up about my retirement paperwork. The motherfuckers text me tonight like, yo, log on, fix what you need to fix, and then respond back to the email, reply all and shit. But they kicked my shit back because I ain't put that I was taking leave. That's why I told you I put on there I'm going to take 60. I'm going to take 2 months off. I might change that shit 3 months. They let me take 3 months. I'm taking 3 months. I can get a whole nother job in that time.
As soon as they hear you trying to do that, they're going to be like, what?
I'm in my 40s. We in our 40s. Like, we old.
Look,
I've been at my job 22 years. I told him, I said, once my shit get approved, I'm still going to do my job. I can't just go to work and bullshit. I'm still going to do my job. I'm just not going to play their games. I'll tell you that. Because I already know what evaluation I'm going to get because your shit going to be your retirement shit. Yeah, 80s babies, 82. Ain't I'm older than you?
By like a month.
So you call me sir, all right? Respect your elders. I'm talking to my homeboy, and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm turning 45. I'm like, damn, you old. He said, ain't you 45? I'm like, nah, I'm 43, bro. Oh, my bad. I meant to call you sir, man. Mr. Perry.
But yeah, I still got some goals to catch up with. You know, we got to keep ourselves healthy.
I gotta grow up. Now, once I retire, I gotta grow up. I gotta go get a real job.
How you gonna be doing the
I
same?
do a contractor. I was talking to one of my people. She's retired. I don't even think she fully retired yet. I think she's still on leave, and she working back at our job as a contractor.
Yeah, but that ain't a thing because you already doing the work. You just
She just in civilian clothes, getting paid a hell of a lot more. Plus her retirement shit. Plus the pension.
Going straight.
Yeah. Now if I could do that, the best part he said that had me like so jealous, and I've never been jealous of shit in my life, is that she could quit. I told him, I said, yes, I like, I quit. They're like, no, you can't.
So what are you trying to say? You want to become a quitter?
You better go take a walk and come back, Chief. I'm like, I'm just fucking with y'all. I quit this test, though. I was taking some tests. Then they told me I ain't even had to take the test. They already did the training. I said, y'all watch me sit here struggling on this damn computer trying to Google the answers all this goddamn time, and I ain't even had to take it. Yo, I appreciate you subbing to the channel. Yeah, I like to crack up and have fun, yo. I had too much time. I can admit, yo, I was too serious when I was a kid. You know, it's fun to be able to enjoy myself. I won't say that I was mean because I wasn't mean. I was bad, but I wasn't mean.
It was a part of just being young. You know what I mean? Finding your box, you know? That is what it is.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy my kids ain't shit like me. As far as that point, you know. I see myself in them and shit. So I be at karate with my son, that shit be cracking me up when he like advanced to the black belt club and they start sparring. And I told him, I said, yo, you better stop playing, boy. They ain't gonna hit your ass, you gonna feel it. You know you a little light, you gonna see them bruises. That first day he came back to the car, he said, you wasn't lying, Dad. They hit hard. Now he's starting to get his reflexes to bob and weave, you know? Okay. While we talking shit, we can let one fucking video
Listen,
play.
it's called Connect Team, and it's insane. I don't
We
do
gonna let
schedules
these-
or
we gonna let
timesheets
this play,
manually
'cause it's
anymore.
my
And it worked.
commercial. That shit is mirrored.
I'm begging you, become a master of AI tools, especially if you have 10 years left until retirement.
Gas school.
Judgment per se, like I'm not about to take it with me and be wagging my finger at you, but we do have to like wake up. Why do y'all keep doing this? Why are y'all going to his hotel rooms? Why are y'all doing any of this?
Warning, this is for educational and informational purposes only. It covers real people, real stories, and raw environments, not to glorify violence or hate, but to shed light on reality. This content has also been censored to comply with YouTube guidelines. What's up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever this may reach you. Welcome back to Uncle Mo TV, straight out of Mars Senior Podcast. And today you already see from the thumbnail what we're going to get into. So I made another trip back to FEMG, you know, the school that
I don't know why I be
don't
talking like
exist,
that.
that
I think I be
Umar
drunk.
Johnson, which exists, that he conjured up in his mind.
Bro, I'm about to
And
roast myself. I be drunk, bro. That's just like when people see me talking like that, that's why I be drinking these fucking teas, man. I be sitting here on the street just sipping the fuck away, bro. You want me to do a 5-second reaction to what? I be drinking these fucking teas. Y'all need to sponsor me, bro. I drink these teas and be on this fucking stream fucking going off on it. But yeah, man. Let's look at this fucking fake ass fucking school, bro. First off, he charging $70 for that book. That shit still boggles me, man. Look at this shit, bro. Right after the snowstorm, we got the bus. So I got the history on that bus, bro. So that is his bus. It used to be wrapped with his picture and shit. Somebody donated
somebody that moved to Kenya donated that shit to him. This chick, a fat chick, you know that's his style, right? And the art of fucking Mesa. What is it on YouTube? Somebody, let me see. Can I fucking? Or why it ain't showing up on here? Is he on the other screen? You see, but yeah, fucking. It used to be rap with him, and they took him off. I'm surprised. I tell you one thing about fucking Delaware, they don't tow shit. Cause I be seeing cars out there that was in the same spot for months. In New York, they would have told your shit. They towing people shit in the snow right now. You know that, right? What the hell you doing over there? Man, you got a full coat on? Bro, I wish I had a basement. If I had a basement, I'm telling you, this would be the perfect house. I'm about to get me a shed, bro. I want one of them shits like...
That's the way.
Mental mesh? Yeah. Let me see. I'm about to look this shit up, he's saying. Look at.
I would do that.
I tell you, one of my homeboys, he got a shed. That shit's like a club in that motherfucker. He got a bar in there, all that shit.
Wood or is it
pool
plastic?
Tables? Huh?
Is it wood or plastic?
It's wood. That shit big as shit.
Yeah, that's yeah.
He had to pay like 10 racks for that shit at least.
Yeah, wood is expensive, so of course.
I know, cause I went there. I went for a dog house and they wanted like fucking $400 or $500 to do that shit. I like, man, fuck that and that dog. Even a little igloo dog house that I bought, that shit was like, I think that shit was like $200 or $300, somewhere around there. It was two. I know it was over like a little. It was either a little over two. Look at all that mold up there. Let me see. You said the art of. This ain't no shit that's gonna get me demonetized, right? Cause I don't want no smoke with YouTube. I need my coins. It's the art of memories, or it's the art of.
They used to get driven to the club in that kind of bus.
You went to the club in that kind of bus?
That's different.
That's some. What the fuck? The art of Musa Johnson.
It's called a party bus right there.
I used to do party buses in New York. We had that double. Oh, this shit is like comedy, like little pictures. Look at this shit of 50 though. That should look hilarious. From 2 days ago.
So something that a lot of people don't know is that when files are deleted, they're
I'm
not
about to just
actually
pay for this
gone
premium
forever.
shit,
Rather, they're just
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
At this point, this isn't caricature art. This is photorealism.
I ain't gonna hold you though. That low key Dan there looked like him, bro.
Yeah, it do.
You see? That Dan there look like. I mean, they're a little exaggerated right here, but it's a good. It's like that shit on 42nd Street where they be drawing you and you and your girl be there and they make you look like them stupid cartoons. That's how that shit look.
Sorry, Steve, the potato.
Steve
Curtis Jackson, aka $50.
Hey yo.
The handshake, the teeth.
Oh shit.
Lil Kim.
Yo, it's crazy cause I ain't gonna lie. Little Kim was so gorgeous back in the day, and she messed herself up. And I remember I was like, she looks like the Sword doll. Like she messed herself up with all those surgeries. What time is that? I'm about to take my ass to bed.
Yeah.
It's 4:06.
I thought Little Kim was hot. She started messing with her nose.
Son, what are you doing up for? Man, you wide awake. You up for the day? You got a haircut appointment at 2. Huh?
Yeah, it's a wrap for me.
You know what you could do since you up? Huh? Nah, besides doing your push-ups. Besides sit-ups, besides working out. Yeah, exactly.
That's a wrap.
Love you. Go clean the drink. He's like, what I would do? My sit-ups? Do this? Nah.
That's a wrap for me, bro.
Yeah, you right. Black Little Kim was hot. Yo, I grew up. I had her to cover her album, Hardcore. I had that shit on my wall, bro. That was my joint. I wake up, greatness. Lord have mercy. You remember Nicki Minaj tried to redo that shit? But Lord knows, I used to look at that shit. I remember my mom's, one of her coworkers, I think, was talking about it, and she told me, like, my son got that picture on the wall. He was trying to buy that shit. Man, I'm like, hell no. But she did look like Jigsaw, bro. She put that dumb shit on. Like, she really, like, messed herself up with them surgeries. Oh, shit. This probably the best one so far.
Bro, the eyes are frying me.
Some Men in the Black and shit.
You knowing something.
This is either Rihanna, Willow Smith, or Solange. I can't tell.
Oh, shit.
The runway.
You deal with them.
It do look like a mix of all of the. Oh, man. Why they got the bubble coming out her nose, bro?
To capture the essence of these beings.
Now, this is actually pretty good.
I know you like it.
Yo, this the most zestiest I ever seen this dude, bro.
Got him twiddling his locks. Mr. MAGA himself, Donald J. Trump.
No. Yo. They got the bags, all that shit. He actually looked more human in this picture than he look in real life. That's actually, he probably liked this shit if he see it. They find out you done went to sleep. Oh,
Turns Riley into either a giraffe or the bug from Men in Black.
That's what I was gonna say, the Men in Black bug.
And you are unforgettable. I need to get you alone.
That's my song.
A free good time never hurt nobody.
Oh, you listen to that shit at the gym.
Clarissa Shields and Pap Smear.
Oh, he said.
Gave her some uppercase guns.
And lowercase teeth. Yo,
Go River.
Though that looked just like him. That ain't even.
Shit like a 2019 Nissan Pathfinder.
Yo.
It's the fact that he's actually standing upright because
how they got him cap and cut. That looked just like her too.
Poor Taylor cannot catch a break.
Yo.
We still applying pressure in 2026, baby.
Wow.
Drake is #1 on Spotify U.S. Top Artist Weekly Chart for the third consecutive week of 2026.
Yo.
Not to put a pink beret in his brain.
He do look like he said who be.
National Basketball Association young man.
He look like the dude from what's that shit? The Sticking in Me?
It's the fact that he actually really be standing like that.
He do stand like that.
This one takes the cake.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I like comedy, bro, but yo, this shit look. Oh man,
you gotta do something like that again.
Yeah. Now that he put me on, we gonna have to do some more of those. Man. This is what I can say. But he do some of them shits look just like them motherfuckers, man. They ain't even like no like joke. That shit look like them, bro.
That's a Snapple fact.
Oh, what the fuck is this?
I'm gonna take myself to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed too, bro. Abel already up, running around, so
be safe.
Word, good night, everybody. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I don't know when me and Soul Soundz gonna go live again because he be bullshitting, but it'll be sooner than later though.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
be back in. I'm gonna be snowed in, so I'll be back on here.
Yes, sir.
So appreciate y'all kicking in. Yo, Frank Castle, that's one of my favorite Marvel heroes. Subscribe to the channel and we'll pick back up on this, you know. Shit, maybe tomorrow is Saturday. You know, maybe tomorrow. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, peace.